Good evening, everyone. As you can tell, we are here having a typical. Um, let's actually say this right. Let's actually remind everyone what today is, what it's about, and why we're here. It is the Memorial Day special. Yes, today is Memorial Day in the United States, which is in remembrance of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for the military, in that we are here because they are not. We are able to live in the situations that we are because of those who gave all in defense and protection of the rights and privileges that we have. Now, we are going to end up having some fun. We are going to go ahead and continue on with our typical shenanigans that, holy shit, what the fuck is that? Who the hell left the Legos on the floor?
I'm sorry.
God
That
damn
would
it,
be one of our Crayon topics.
I almost stepped on it, but, it is nice to see you are still around, team.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to be here, man. I'm glad nobody's crushed me yet.
Where's Main Gun at? We need Main Gun here. At least have a Crayon here.
If someone wants to poke him on Discord to get his attention, the link to join us is accessible by all veterans who are appropriately identified on the Discord server. And there are a couple more that I did send the link to directly, which, for those who didn't catch the short stream that I did during a break that I had at work on Saturday night, JM Truth was invited. JM Truth accepted the invite. JM Truth has been emailed the link to join us on the panel. Haven't gotten a reply from him yet whether or not he's actually going to join today. I did say sorry about Saturday, work intervened. That tends to happen when you have a regular job.
Yeah.
But
he may not say. You met with him. You kind of gotta talk to him days in advance. That's what I've learned. Is that trying to get an immediate response from him is about as fucking as likely as getting an immediate response from me.
although
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how is Natalie doing? How has he been feeling lately?
Oh, he's well. Okay, so did everybody here see the evolution debate that me and Craig had with G-Man and Natalie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I did, and I have to say the rebroadcast of it that I think it was Craig who recorded it on your guys' own end was better because we didn't have the losses in the presentation that you two gave, which, yeah, even better when you get to see all of it in one shot.
Yeah, so when we got out of that, G-Man and Nathan were both talking about doing after shows, proclaiming their victory. And when you get beat 25-0 in any sport, you don't really go off and have a celebratory ice cream. So unfortunately, my victory over them two ruined their celebratory ice creams, and
Tapped out.
they haven't said much since.
I wonder why that is. And it's almost like some people went over into the comment section of G-Man's after show and actually said, wait, you're saying you won and that they didn't provide any evidence, yet were you not paying attention during the first 15 minutes at all, where they presented what you were looking for and you and Nathan presented nothing?
I want to point something out about that presentation too, because me and Craig really got together and we said, let's strategize on what we're going to present. The first thing we both agreed on, that they would deny anything that had to do with Darwin. Okay, if we brought up Darwin or we said, look at Darwin's studies, they were gonna reification fallacy, blah, 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 you know what I mean? That was gonna come. So we said, let's stay away from anything that's not modern. Let's look at something that's been documented within the past 50 to 100 years. And that's where we came up with our 3 evidences of evolution. And what we showed was exactly what they kept saying. There's no anatomical new structures. Like, are you kidding me? Did you not hear the entire the crickets have new wings, different wings. Yeah, but wings become wings. How much do they have to change before you stop considering them a wing? Like the fact that they were one shape before, and after generations of influence, of environmental influence, they've actually changed their wings so that they can live long enough to reproduce. That is evolution. The 3-spine stickleback, the new plates on the fish.
Oh yeah, that was a
plates
big
that
one.
weren't there before. They're there now. New anatomical features. You know what I'm saying? You guys are fucking morons.
Yeah, they kept parroting Kent Hovind too, weren't they?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Well, I still say the most entertaining thing would be a discussion between G-Man and Natalie on Flat Earth. They agree on pretty much everything else, but they don't agree on that. I am willing to put money down. I am willing to bet that G-Man walks away a flat earther.
No. Let me explain something hilarious that most people didn't catch, right? So Natalie in that debate says anybody who believes in religion and doesn't believe it's a flat earth is an atheist. Now, one of G-Man hates atheists. He just hates any atheist. The word atheist, if you identify as an atheist, he identifies as hating you. That's just how it is. So the moment that Nathan called G-Man a fucking atheist because he doesn't believe in the flat earth, if you look at G-Man's face, he just kind of makes a face and then pulls his hat down like, I know you did not call me a fucking atheist right here in the middle of the fucking thing.
Oh, and here's a kicker that, yes, I did leave a comment over on G-Man's after show and even pointed to this. He has said on multiple times that even the supposed highly educated people can't explain certain things to him. What he's neglecting to mention is the fact that a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago now, a group of people got together in the New York City area, actually took G-Man to the Museum of Natural History. You wished? Mute if you're not saying something. There we go.
Jared?
Real quick. He was taken to the Museum of Natural History in New York City. There was a PhD there willing to talk to him. He wouldn't even go in. Once they got there and he realized where they were and he was told, oh no, there's someone here who wants to talk to you. No. He flat out refused.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So,
he just they did not have anything like that. The evidence that he presented was 1,000 PhD physicists or PhD scientists disagree or are skeptical of Darwin's theories. Well, here's the thing. When you flash the names across the screen and their positions, none of them say evolutionary biologists. None of them say molecular biologists. They all say things like social fucking science PhD.
Oh, pamphlet making PhD.
I mean, yeah, they had people who had PhDs in science, but that doesn't mean that they understand completely what evolutionary biology is all about. You know, a chemist doesn't go in and tell a biologist how to do his job, does he? No. Why the fuck would a chemist have anything to say about fucking his skepticism on Darwin's theories of evolution? All he has to do is go read the reports and the studies. If he reads the reports and the studies with the scientific fucking fine-tooth comb, that's all it really takes. Once you do that, you'll come to the conclusion that absolutely that evolution is a natural process that happens to everything that has, number one, the energy and the resources to evolve. It will evolve.
Well, and their whole thing of, yeah, you're showing us microevolution. Of course, microevolution happens, but we're talking about macroevolution. What's the major difference between micro and macroevolution for most instances? Oh yeah,
The other thing he did,
time.
he brought up the Miller-Urey experiment, and I should have said something about it, but I didn't really address it because in my head I was thinking this has nothing to do with evolution. But I should have said that. I should have said, why are you bringing up origin of life? You know, like
Yeah,
that's not evolution. We're here to debate whether the process of evolution has led to speciation on the planet, and we're showing you evidence of speciation on the planet.
yeah, that is another conflation that they do, that, oh, if you believe in evolution, oh, then you must by fiat also agree with abiogenesis, and it's like,
Right.
not exactly.
Yeah, that's not exactly, that's like saying, let's debate theorem in calculus, right? And then I step up to the table and I'm like, okay, well, if we go back to, to geometry's roots, and you're like, what? We're not debating geometry, we're debating an entire other field of math. Yes, they're both math. Yes, that you could say that there's, some ties from geometry and trigonometry into calculus. But at the same time, if we're talking calculus, we're not talking geometry. Even though they're both math.
Mark Beiser does have a good point out in the live chat. The letter they were talking about was regarding if evolution happens by natural selection alone. So it's,
And okay, so it's not really, evolution isn't really a natural selection alone. It is still selection, but there's artificial selection, sexual selection, natural selection. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that, that go into the selection process. Evolution is simply an environmental pressure that leads to a change in, physiology. Whether it can be, even behavioral influences.
like you mentioned with the crickets. The males went to not having the sound emission as part of their procreation process, and so the behavioral changes had to happen as a result of it.
Yeah, they had to evolve. They had to have a behavioral evolution as well, which they did. They then started evolving to follow around the male crickets who still made the sounds, which they're, the females would flock to them since there's less of them now, and those the other crickets that didn't have the wings would then go and push that cricket off to the side and mate with the females. So I mean, it's an interesting process that I mean, and there's another stupid thing that G-Man said when I said please define kind, because he did say kind, like he says he didn't say it. Anybody can go back there and watch his intro. In his intro, he brought up the word kind, and I knew that he would, and I had it already written out. Define kind in terms of taxonomy. That's a simple term. Taxonomy is classification. That's what evolution's all about. Is the speciation of the origin of species, how they design new species. Well, we classify things. It's the same general field. So define kind in terms of species or in terms of taxonomy. And he said it's anything that's at or above the allele frequency. What the fuck? Like, what? That doesn't mean anything.
Well, and not
I mean fucking at or above the allele frequency. Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Yes. Yeah, that's what he said. And I know what an allele frequency is, so it wasn't like I was confused by his terminology. It just doesn't make sense. Like it's nonsensical.
Oh, like what hip hop hippie was doing last night.
Oh, a funny story, and I gotta tell this. Me and my son were driving around earlier today, and I asked my son if he understood what refraction is. He said, "Yeah, I know what refraction is." I mean, he's not real science inclined, so it's not like he just broke down Snell's law right there. He just was like, "Yeah, I know what refraction is." I said, "Okay." Yeah. I said, "So, what's the difference between an apparent horizon and a geometric horizon?" First thing out of his mouth, and see, this is me being honest. First thing out of his mouth was, "I don't fucking know." And I was getting ready to explain it to him. And it's funny because he at least admitted that he had no fucking clue. Before I could start explaining it to him, he goes, I would think that the geometric horizon is where the actual horizon is, but the apparent horizon is where the horizon is due to like where you see the horizon at, not necessarily where it's at physically, but where you see it at. I was like, God damn, how is it that this 20-year-old punk who, smart enough to just coast through high school, went ahead and coasted his way through it, you know what I'm saying? He still knows shit, but he's not fucking science inclined. How is it that he can just fucking immediately be like, oh yeah, that's fucking, he can hit it right, exactly right the first time without even fucking trying. But hip hop hippie with explanation, with an hour-long explanation, doesn't fucking understand.
Because your son at least has an understanding of how to infer things.
Yeah, like the differences in the word appear and apparent.
Oh, and he kept swapping the words too, didn't he?
Oh, of course, he has to, because... and this is where I will agree that he is an idiot. Just listen to some of the stuff he says. Just look at the ideas that he's trying to support. He's an idiot. But,
Oh, yeah.
But I also still say that there is the Poe side to it, because he recognizes enough that there are people who know more about it, but I can't let them say what the answers to my questions are because I don't want to listen.
So here's why I don't think he's a Poe. Okay, I have had my opportunity to spend a lot of time dealing with that punk, right? And he has a girlfriend that comes around. Her name is Dandelion S. Okay, she defends him. She goes into the thing and she defends him adamantly. Now here's the thing: if his girlfriend is defending him, then there's no way he's a Poe. If this is all an act, unless she's in on the act, as in they're both let's fool the whole globe community, and she's just dumb enough to go with his dumbass idea, which could possibly be. But if he was a Poe and she was like not on board with the whole acting like a dumbass too, then she just wouldn't be around. She wouldn't be defending him because she knows it's all an act and it's not really serious. She defends him as if he takes this seriously. I don't think he's a Poe. I think he's a dumbass.
Birds
oh God,
of a
my
feather.
chicken tenders.
Oh, team is burning his dinner. Hey, Alan. So is this a better start time for you?
Yeah, even though I had actually fallen asleep, which is why I'm a little late on parade. But yes, it's a much nicer time.
Yeah, sometimes it works out that way. And see, what Team was just saying about how Derpy has the girlfriend who is supportive of him and everything. Maybe shared idiocy is what brought them together. I mean, there is that potential aspect to it. But you also have that inherent self-awareness where she might not realize that he recognizes where there are people who know more than him, because you have to admit, the part of him in his behavior that is Poish is the dishonest part, which is where pull up an image as you're about to start a video and he's already trying to debunk it before it is even started. Because he's afraid of what it's actually going to show and how it completely goes against what his suppositions are.
I think that one guy, Mike, he's 100%. One that has the degree on the wall and keeps saying it's his remedial reading certification.
Yeah. Oh. I only caught part of the Mind of Dodge and Professor Bell thing. Did Mind of Dodge bring up anything to do with his academic background?
Okay, so as I probably should have done last night, probably shouldn't have had fight on because, supposed to be between Hip Hop Hippie and Sean, and I actually recused myself from the Bell and Mind of God or Mind of Dodge debate because I felt like it would just be too many people, and but with Sean we didn't feel that way because we kind of see him as crew.
Mm-hmm.
So for me and Fight, we didn't really look at it like we were truly interrupting Sean because we were all SOS and Hip Hop Hippie when, first off, that wasn't a debate. Hip Hop Hippie provided 15 seconds out of 10 minutes. I told him, you got 10 minutes to provide information or evidence. Go ahead and go. He said, it's not flat. That's all I need to say. The rest of the time can go to him. Okay, so we're not having a debate, basically. You're just here to say the earth's flat because reasons. Sean's going to fucking handle that.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to keep it to where it would be like mostly Sean and Hip Hop Hippie and but as much as people are saying that Fight the Flat Earth was getting triggered by Hip Hop Hippie, it wasn't that. Hip Hop Hippie kept addressing Fight the Flat Earth instead of Sean. And Fight the Flat Earth was responding to it. And we also had evidence that, like when we showed the evidence of the can being refracted over the propane tank, that was relevant to the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were just all trying to do it, but I didn't really catch all of the Professor Phil Bell and Mind of Dodge shit, so...
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how much of his educational background he brought up.
I only caught the tail end of it, so that's where I was curious because that guy is special.
I believe the interesting bit was not in the actual debate show, but was in the after show, which I admit I haven't seen, but it would appear there were some interesting things mentioned that haven't necessarily been denied.
So, I don't think Mind of God is a Poe. There's a lot of people that do. I think here's what his thing is. I think he is the absolute most profound example of Dunning-Kruger, the Mount Stupid of Dunning-Kruger. He has the tiniest bit of education, the tiniest bit of terminology, and he tries to infer reality from that terminology.
Here's the problem, though. He has repeatedly claimed, and I haven't looked into verification of this, but his claim is that he had gotten up to and through and completed master's level of education of electrical engineering, specifying in communication technology and topographies. So,
an idiot then, because we all know that communications are limited by line of sight. So, line of sight of radio waves, but there's a radar horizon, there's a radio horizon. But we all know that. Just by that definition, there's no way he can have a master's in anything that involves communications, unless it's an electronics degree that specifies in that's very specific to like the electronics used in communication. Now maybe that, but not any communication whatsoever.
Apparently somebody checked, and the institution that he claims awarded him the degree awarded that degree to his father, not to him.
So a liar. All right, and see that's where I was initially going, based off of what he presented as his education versus what he was demonstrating as his actual knowledge base during my first interaction with him.
Yeah, I mean, he would not seem to have a clue even to something even as simple as Ohm's law.
See, when you have to resort to dishonesty to support your position, that should be a clue. your position is more than likely wrong.
I'm just gonna bust out next time I talk to him. Hey, what's Ohm's law? I'm just gonna see if he knows that. I'm just gonna see if he knows that. If he doesn't know that, then there's no way he's in electrical engineering.
I dropped out of electrical engineering, and I know what the what Ohm's law is.
Yeah. Well, apparently he did. Apparently that's what happened to him. He went to university to study electrical engineering and dropped out.
Yeah, and as someone who actually completed bachelor's level of it, even just the bachelor's level, it's fucking hard. There is difficulty to it because a lot of people don't realize how math heavy it is. Just to get through the basics, just to get through the foundation of it.
I
Tell me
needed
about it.
for an electrical engineering degree at the college I went to, you needed, I think, 5 calculus classes.
Yes. At least.
All right, we could ask him just to draw a basic logic gate diagram. That's an. Even somebody who dropped out after one semester should still know how to do that.
Maybe 2 semesters or 3. It depends on when they start getting into that bit. But a good tell for that, because actually my initial thought on that bit when you asked about the logic, just draw out a basic logic gate setup. What would you expect a initial clarification to be before actually starting to do it?
Draw the symbol of one, I guess.
Draw the symbol of one with an input, 2 inputs, and an out.
Well, no, not even that. No, is clarification of which type of logic gate do you want? And, NAND, or NOR?
Yeah, of course.
And or nor.
Actually, I would have let him draw the logic gate, and then I would have asked him which logic gate that was.
Oh yeah, could do that too.
I don't think he could even handle a straight up inverter.
If I'm not forgetful on this, with never mind, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Actually, I got it back.
Awesome.
With logic gates, if it's a triangle, it's more similar to a knot. If it's like that little round thing on top, it's closer to an AND gate, if I remember correctly.
So your triangle is
Be right back.
your invert is your invert. You'll always see the nipple though. Well, and because guess what I deal with most of the time at work?
Logic gates.
Examining not just logic gates, but the entire logic setup. It's most of the work is PLCs that I deal with. PLCs and drive controllers, motor controllers that have built-in logic setups and logic sequencing. Because oftentimes, especially on new installs, there will have to be edits to the logic to actually get it to work how it's supposed to. Because there are times that we don't get all the information for the design to where there are things that were overlooked on the information that were given to the design team who initially started the process. And then my interface with them and the customer is what actually gets the rest of the information to make sure that it's actually tuned and programmed completely right. And oh boy, that actually goes into the fun that I had Saturday, yeah, where they had an issue on the pneumatic side of a production line. In trying to fix the pneumatics, they ended up causing a problem and it damaged the PLC, while at the same time having an intermittent issue on one of the motor drive controllers. So had to replace the PLC, had to rewrite the PLC program for the new model of controller that was going in its place, and then I was able to deal with the drive side of it and recognize that no, that thing's going intermittent. Something inside that is just deciding not to turn on, and it was a very simple setup one. So it wasn't even like I could log in and check the programming specifically on that drive. No, it was just voltage is there to tell it to run. it's not going into run. Wait a minute, now it randomly did with no one touching it. Yeah, there's a problem with that drive. And then it took about 4 hours to get the proper input voltage setup type drive for the motor it was being connected to. They couldn't, and here's the kicker, they could not find the same size, but they were able to get their hands on a larger one. And at one point, they had the audacity to ask, well, can't we just jump out the drive and just straight feed the motor? Now, I know a number of you people don't have the experience with the equipment and setups like that, but just thinking about that, you jump out and remove the motor drive controller and just direct feed the voltage into the motor, because it is a same input, same output voltage setup on the drive. What do you think would happen when you turned on the production line?
It wouldn't be good.
No, it wouldn't be.
Maybe something go pink, boom, clank.
Yeah, Jared, look on the bright side. At least you're not having to do your logic gates as implementing the gates individually using relays.
Oh no.
With your logic levels being 0 volts and minus 50 volts, with currents in the amps for the signals.
Oh, and it's
Ouch.
funny. It's funny you mentioned that,
Yeah, I've
Alan.
been there, done that.
Alan, that was my Friday night.
Because that's when you're looking for and of course micro switches as sensors.
Yeah, when I go to the bar and I don't go home with a woman, I usually go home to a relay switch like that just for my kicks.
Hey, team.
It's when you accidentally get your finger stuck in it so that it bites you.
Oh,
And multiple technicians have been working on this for 16 hours, and it zaps you, and grounding the supply through a load is enough to clear the fault.
oh, imagine. Sometimes a simple reset like that is often what's overlooked.
Yeah.
Now, so
Yeah, that's when you are very careful to write on the job card. Minus 50 volts, taken to ground via load, full cleared.
yeah.
Let's not mention who the load was.
So the answer to the question that I had, what would happen if you take the that drive controller out of that circuit, that setup? Ugly German truth. Fino has it right. You would have a motor that never stops. But but here's the bad thing.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna be an unregulated motor. It's just gonna continue.
It's
on
gonna
and
go.
on and on.
It's gonna go up to full speed and never stop. Anamorphic Minds asked the question: wouldn't you blow the motor? Depends on the motor. You might have a catastrophic failure of the motor shortly after it starts, or the motor is going to fail over time as it wears down the brushes and loses the connectivity to actually run the motor. And then, yeah, you'll have to do major rework on the motor at that part. When they came over and asked me that, I looked at them like they were insane and said, no. Well, why not? It's like, because then you won't have any control or safety over the production line. You would turn it on and that thing would take off. I'm not doing it.
So, okay, I gotta be able to word it in a way that only an electronics technician or electrical engineer would understand. So I can't just say what's Ohm's law, because then he might know that to prevent himself from getting caught, right?
Ooh.
So I was thinking of it like this. I could say, mind of God, V equals IR, I equals V over R equals I over V, or V over I. What am I describing? He should know it. He should know that that's Ohm's law written out in with each based on what you're looking for.
Immediately.
Oh yeah.
But Matt, real.
Or another way to put it is, how would you describe the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance?
Nice.
Well, Ohm's law. Yeah, Ohm's.
Yeah, he should know that if he was actually in any electrical field, because that is literally the first thing I was
Any
taught
electrical
whenever I
field.
got into. That's the first thing I was taught when I got into college for engineering was V equals IR, buddy.
Yep.
Actually, it was my calculus class, but after that was my electrical engineering class. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, I took electronic principles, and that's what they taught us.
I mean, in the UK, I think even now, but obviously I went to school rather a long time ago now. But if you did if you did physics as one of your subjects at high school, so at the 2 years before your 16th birthday, that would have included Ohm's law at that level.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean, I cannot believe that you could get into a university to read electrical engineering or electronic engineering
Without knowing that.
without already knowing what Ohm's law and most of the basic stuff like that, Kirchhoff and all that. You would know that before you even get to university.
kick it up a notch, team. Ask him to explain the relationship between volts, amps, and volts, amp reactive in an AC circuit.
Yeah, we're trying to think of that
ask-
moment. Asking him
Absolutely.
to draw a logic gate.
No, yeah. Ask him for the definition of power factor.
Ooh.
Ask him if he can explain what form factor is. There's
Yeah,
a few
right.
gotchas. Every electrical engineer knows these
They
things.
use that too. They'll use form factor a lot as well, without understanding the what that actually means. I was thinking, ask him to signal trace the power input, like the signal trace the power as it comes into a chipset. See if he could signal trace the power using a diagram, electrical diagram. Like any engineer should be able to do this. And I'm not even an electrical engineer,
Anybody-
and I know I can do it.
Here's
Signal
another
tracing is something mechanics should know for cars, just to put it in perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a great question. A positive logic AND is a what sort of negative logic gate? That's a good one.
Yeah.
I know it. I'm just waiting to see if anybody else likes it.
Well,
But I was a technician, so I was required to understand logic
Yeah.
gates. It's a NAND,
Yeah.
right?
It's a negative logic NOR, actually.
Nor. Yeah.
A NOR?
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
AND? a
What?
neg-
So a
Positive AND is a negative NOR.
Yeah.
Oh, then I got it wrong. I said NAND.
If you invert your logic levels, so you make your positive logic 0 instead of 1.
Right. Exactly.
God damn it! I quit, guys. I'm not debunking.
Oh,
I
that,
quit. Somebody take my badge.
no, I think you guys will like this one from Mark Beiser. I tried to break Ohm's law. The results were shocking.
Yeah, you can't. There is no breaking of Ohm's law. There's only grounding it.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things. That was one of the things because obviously, I mentioned our relay logic ran on a negative 50 volt value for your 1. So 0 was 0 volts and 1 was minus 50 volts instead of positive voltage. So yeah, the circuits you use are flipped in some cases.
Also, a little tidbit is for flight schools, they teach you they don't teach you in-depth electrical knowledge, but they teach you with exclusively, the water thingy, the water anagram
Oh,
or
electron.
analogy.
Well,
Yeah.
electron flow versus hole flow.
Yes, that's not even taught. It's just the pipe analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been taught that way for
Oh,
damn,
it works.
forever.
it-
Yeah, and it's a good analogy.
It's
Hey,
only
Blue.
good for a very simplistic understanding of it, though.
It gets you started. It gets you started on understanding the relation between your resistance, your current, and your voltage, your potential.
That's right.
It lays that foundation to where people can conceptualize it, and then you go into the nuance from there on how different devices affect it in different ways. And that's where I got a kick out of this in A school, where they started going over LCR circuits and just looking over at the green side of the classroom and seeing how many of them went, huh?
I have an idea. I'll challenge Mind of God to a television repair contest. He's an electrical engineer. I'm an electrical
Can I-
technician.
Ooh.
He
Can
should
I
be
be
able to.
in on this too? Because I need to fix my TV.
Team, I hope you're planning on using a good old-fashioned CRT TV. None of this modern LCD panel stuff.
I can do either one, but yes, we'll make it easy on him. We'll do we'll do projection TVs. We'll do a projection TV.
No. Do something with the CRT, because it'll be far more interesting.
Yeah, but then you know him. He's
when
gonna
you get-
start out by licking his fingers and touching the power source. I guarantee you, and that's not gonna be pretty for him.
Oh, here's the kicker,
Yes, it
though.
would.
Here's the kicker, though, is I used to have the reference, but back in, I want to say it was dated from like 57 or 50 or 56, there was a manual that actually told you if you put your hand, thumb and index finger across the terminal, and it feels like this is the voltage potential of the circuit you're touching.
Like the reason why
That's
I would
pretty cool.
I would legitimately shy away from doing something like that is because I'm not sure that he would realize that the capacitor in a CRT will hold its charge.
Fucking huge,
And that dude
too.
that dude will kill himself trying to fucking prove that he was actually an electrical engineer. He'll electrocute himself trying to prove he was an engineer.
Don't you got to short out the capacitor before you do anything?
Well,
Yeah,
you want to
but
make
I'm
sure
saying,
that
he
it's...
doesn't know that. I can't guarantee that he would know that.
Yeah, it's like don't touch the
Don't piss on the electric fence.
don't touch the anode connection of the CRT, because like it'll self-charge from the air.
Yeah.
Well, and here, there was a guy that I was stationed with in Washington that would be the perfect guy to have around Mind of Dodge for this, because when he got bored, kid you not, when he got bored in the shop, he would go grab a capacitor, charge it off a power supply, and then use the insulated pliers and then toss it at someone.
Oh,
Oh, what about the prank? You put it in somebody's pocket and just leave it there, and then whenever they reach into their pocket, it zaps them off.
It depends on the uniform they were wearing. Most of the time we were in coveralls. You drop that in someone's pocket, it's going to go through the fabric and discharge on them almost immediately.
Yeah. I was just about to tell you guys, like, I couldn't do that where I worked because I worked with radars and our capacitors held enough
Fucking
charge to
huge.
kill you. Yes,
Yeah.
Hey,
you drop
Jared.
that drop it in someone's back pocket when you really don't like them and you just want to get rid of them.
Yeah, in like the shop class for this is how you use a meter, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They had a lot of sort of very big electrolytic capacitors with screw connectors sticking out the top as a pair. So you could, of course, charge them up with the 1000-volt mega, and then just walk up behind and then walk up behind your unsuspecting victim
Tap.
and stab in the back of the neck.
So what were you saying, Eric?
Ouch.
Fun things to do with a megger.
Yeah. Been there.
I used to have a really nice wind up 1000-volt mega. I always used to try and get the kids to hold it and then just get them to turn the handle a little bit. They never got it very far.
We do it like when we were testing cables. You get the other guy at the other end to touch the contacts for it before you.
Oh,
So a little funny electrical story involving my car that happened a couple days ago while I was out of town. So what happened is I thought I had a really bad parasitic draw because I just thought my battery was dead. You know the point where like everything will work, but like it just won't even crank your car or engage the starter at all. Anybody ever had that point with your car?
all the time.
Oh yeah. So I hook a big ass jump box to it, and nothing. And I'm like, you better start before I scrap you, And so I move on to looking for things that could possibly be breaking. And I went to detail on like parasitic draw stuff, looking around my car. It wasn't a parasitic draw. It was just my clutch safety sensor broken.
Oh, that'll do it.
I tell you the one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to go try to adjust the dynamic timing of your petrol engine when the input cable from the coil to the top of the distributor cap is the one that hasn't got the insulation on it. And you go grabbing the top of the distributor cap to give it a turn.
Oh no. My truck has a distributor. My car has coil packs. It has one of those distributors where there's like a piece of metal running across the top instead of being insulated.
Yeah, I did that once. The worst bit was the electrocution seemed to go on forever. And I couldn't let go of the damn thing. And the engine wouldn't stall. There was still enough going to the spark plugs that it was keeping the engine running just. It's the only time that was the only time that car didn't stall when it.
My car, I literally have to rebuild the motor to adjust timing, so it kind of sucks. Like everything has to be redone to do it.
Tomo arigato.
Yes, my car's Japanese.
No, you started roboting out there.
Yeah, and with static.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so my car, I have a love-hate relationship with my car because I can't tune it without like completely rebuilding the motor. Sorry about the car tangent.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of questions that were on my advancement test when I was my last advancement test in the military. We could also ask Mind of God to describe what an eddy current is in a circuit. I'm not sure he'd be able to explain that either.
Oh, nice
Okay.
fun.
Having fun there, Jay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a great movie too.
I bought a Blu-ray copy so I could upgrade my capabilities here.
Nice.
Oh, which reminds me.
Is that the nice meme? The guy that goes noise in the background?
No, that was the guy who
From
played
UHF.
Kramer. But yeah, that was from
Michael
UHF.
Richards.
Yeah. What happens is fire hose that close to take a drink from it blows the kid across the studio.
Play it.
Hold
Wow.
on, I gotta work. I
I wanna
Speaking
see
of
it
playing, did you see my mini video there, team?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I need to go watch
Well, hold
that.
on. Then you'll have to watch that.
Okay,
Right now.
I'll watch the mini me video. How long is it?
2 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'll go watch it real quick.
Pioneer.
No, I got it right here.
All right, amp receiver has lost sound. That's any number of issues.
All right. So, have you ever gotten somebody a gift and immediately regret it when you see them with it? Let's check out the intro really quick. So, late last week, or actually middle of last week, I sent Team Skeptic a stuffed animal, stuffed toy, little mini me thing. And you ever really sent somebody something, you're like, this would be great, they would love it. And then you see them with it and you're like, well, let's watch it. Yeah, let me play that again for you. A little bit slower, just so you can see that. But no, guys, in all seriousness, I'm glad Team Skeptic liked it.
Skeptic.
I wanted out of one of those little claw machine things, and I'm just like, I gotta send this to Team. So, and I've been sitting on it for a while. He's known I've had it for a while. I just, for whatever reason, never got around to it till just this last week. 25, but glad you're enjoying it, and look forward to seeing it in the videos. I expect you to hold it up to your camera and do like a little puppet show with it. That's what you should do. At least one video. Maybe even taking the piss out of me. I don't know. We'll see. Take care. Everybody.
I just have to cock slap you in a video, Jared. Or Jay Brown. I already cock slap Jared all the time. So
You need to with that stuff thing is make a mankini just for your stuff figure.
Okay, so
That's awesome.
Ire says it still passes video, just not audio. All right, are your actual hardwire connections separate between your video and audio, or is it HDMI?
Oh, it's something I learned about HDMI. If it's set at the wrong resolution, audio won't pass.
Exactly.
If it's set too high, if the resolution's set too high, you'll lose audio.
Okay, Canon's frustrating me right now with their software, which puts out allows you to use your Canon camera as a webcam in only 2 different resolutions, 1024 by 768, which I have no idea where they get those numbers from, or 1:1.
Okay.
Not even kidding. 1:1. That is the other setting. Yes.
I did look at that software, but as my camera isn't on the list, it's too early. I didn't bother downloading it. Glad I didn't now.
It's not worth it, Alan. There's other. What camera do you have?
I've got it's a 550D, which I think is a T2i in the US.
Do they have? Does it have a clean HDMI output?
Well, as I have Magic Lantern running on it, yes.
Okay, but as long as it has a clean HDMI and it won't automatically shut off every 3 minutes, which is another fucking thing Canon does, you can plug in a mini HDMI cable to it, and then run that to a capture card, and then run the capture card to your computer, and you capture everything in the quality that's coming from your camera. It's amazing. Whatever the max setting is on the capture card, you can grab it in that setting. Here's the problem I'm having, and maybe one of you guys can help me out. This is going to be more on the Adobe Premiere side, but I'm capturing good video, and the video is so good, like such high quality. I import it into Premiere Pro, and then let's say I don't put anything on it. I just take the video in its regular format, import it into Premiere Pro, and then export it out as another video, and it always reduces in quality. There's no way for me to get the quality to be at the same rate as the input video, even if I'm just rendering it out exactly. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you render?
An error in your export settings.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your export settings set to export out?
I've gone through a bunch of videos that walk you through it and tell you like the highest settings. But let me.
Here's what I do with Premiere Pro. Rather than actually telling it to export, I go into a media encoder and manually set it to export out that way.
I do the same thing, and even in media encoder, it won't come out in the same as high of a quality as I put it in at.
Why don't you send me a link to like some test video that you got, and I will try to export it in my Premiere and see what's going on.
I'll do it because then I'm trying to figure out how to fix this problem. Because two things happened in my first video, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, the video quality is so great! I love that new camera you got." The thing is I left auto exposure on, so my camera is constantly changing. Like the color in every shot is like constantly changing based on the lighting conditions or whatnot. If I lean a little forward where that bright ass white forehead of mine takes up more of the frame, then it darkens down, and then the walls get dark, you know. And then I lean back and the walls light back up. So I didn't even properly color grade that any of that, and it still looked amazing. So I need to get it done right so I can make him look superb.
Does the color also change when you make out with your little plushie?
That I don't know. Maybe the color of my face. My color of my face gets red from all the blood rushing to my cheeks as I'm blushing and having that moment of sensualization with the doll.
I'm sorry, I had to make the joke.
I love it. But yeah, if any of you fucktards are good with Premiere Pro, please let me know, because I need to fix that problem.
I personally use for video recording, the only thing I can really help with is GeForce Experience.
Yeah, I use Resolve.
Does GeForce Experience do good video recording? Well, I don't even... Okay, well, hold on. Let me take that back. I don't even need the video recording part because I'm recording it on the camera and transferring the raw files to the computer. So...
Okay.
Yeah, but...
yeah.
From Anamorphic Mind in the chat, he suggests just use the H.264 codec.
Yeah.
That might help.
That's what... I'm using the H.264 at maximum render, 2-pass VBR, maximum bit depth.
If you can, does it have a DisplayPort output by any chance?
The camera?
The camera, no.
Yeah.
No, it has a USB-C out, which I'm using the USB-C out to power the camera so that way the battery doesn't die when I do my live streams.
Okay. So, there's a certain type of I don't know how to describe USB-C or USB-C. There are certain types of them. Maybe it's the cable. It could be a number of things causing the issue.
Oh no. Okay, so the file, the source file, I'm getting it to my computer fine, and it's beautiful. It's only when I put that file into Adobe and render that file out does it come back in a lower quality. It's not a bad quality, but it's a lower quality. You can definitely tell. Like I don't know if how good the quality would come in here if you'd be able to tell if I over this connection, but on my computer when I look, like I'm seeing like the glistening in my eye. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that fucking clear on the raw files. But when I put it in Adobe Premiere, it comes out. It looks like I'm kind of starting to cry. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't look right.
You really surprised me there, Tim, because when I was using Premiere, I could take 1080p video at 30 frames per second, and I could transcode it to 4K 60 FPS, and it would look pretty dang good.
So
when
maybe
looking
I
at
can
it on my 5K monitor.
You know, I'm almost tempted, guys, because I do have a short video clip. I could really send you just a short raw video clip, and then I could go ahead and go into Premiere and just render it one time in Premiere with the max settings. Send you both of them, and you'd look at it and go, "Wow, that one's way clear." And
okay, Jared, I got a question for you, real quick.
Okay.
I'm looking at your website and I'm looking at the store, and coming soon is spelled wrong.
You think?
I know what you mean.
Wow.
I know what you mean by that. I'm just not gonna acknowledge the joke.
Get used to it.
Well, I kind of did.
Jared, guys. I would love to stay, but I do have an engagement that I was supposed to get to, and I'm already running late to it. It's Fight the Flat Earth. He's doing a debate tonight that I'm supposed to take part in. So I wanted to come by and just show my support for AT2 and you guys, because, you know, I was around a lot more at the beginning when I had a lot more time, but, you know, I miss you guys. I miss coming in here and hanging out, especially Alan. You know, I haven't really hung out with you and Eric for a while, you know what I'm saying? So it's good to see you guys, and Blue, obviously, you know, it's always good seeing you around. Jared, you're a fucktard. Thoughts by Jay Brown. Thank you for the plushie, and then fuck you for the video.
You just don't want to admit that you love the video.
I do. But yeah, you guys take it easy, and I will be back around next week, hopefully.
All right, later, team.
You're getting engaged to Craig. Ugly German truth.
Yeah, minor detail.
Oh. That was good.
All right. I have to catch up on updating a bunch of that stuff. Oh, hey, the images still look nice, though. All right, now that that's closed back off, hey, another thing on the list to do. Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see. Well, actually, anyone out there, has Craig gone live yet? And did his other portion actually show up? Because I have my doubts. As for those who don't know, the John Puckett, the guy that Craig is scheduled to have this discussion with, is the same person who refused to join MC Toon on a live stream because he was sent a Google Meet link to join the panel, and he was like, but that's not a YouTube link. Well, no fucking shit. You're trying to hack me. No, we're fucking not.
Doesn't understand Google Meets.
Well, no, guy freaking doesn't know that in order to join the live panel on a stream that is being shown on YouTube, YouTube itself does not host the panel.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it's been changed to replacement Flurf. Shocking! It's almost like he got the clue when I warned him.
How must you feel when all you can manage to be is the replacement Flurf? How must it feel to be that useless?
That is a good question. I've never been the replacement nub, so I wouldn't know. Changed again versus oh, he has Letty on again. So my guess that John wasn't going to show up was right. You know, sometimes you can get tired of being right about these things all the time. But, yeah, is what it is, what it is.
Takes the fun out of life, doesn't it?
Oftentimes, yeah, because a little surprise every now and then is a good thing. And being wrong is a way to learn. Yeah, actually, so some people on the Discord server got to hear what we found out on Friday night, why the regular edition of VTW was pushed back from Friday to Saturday, and it was because I got called to go to a customer site to help diagnose a production line that wasn't running, and this is the one that was all relay logic, no PLC, all relay controlled. I was there on site for almost 4 hours. And the ultimate issue, what actually was the cause of it, there's a pneumatic controlled solenoid to release the brake and engage the jog motor. Completely separate motor, completely separate controller from the regular running of a bay of a multi-cable twister line. The mechanics were the first ones to look at it and said, oh no, everything's fine. The solenoid was barely in place. So it would release the brake, but not engage the motor.
Oh, what you mean is the solenoid was mechanically detaching itself from whatever it was supposed to be attached to.
Yep. Because the way they had the linkage, because there were two motors driving the same element, they had a pneumatic solenoid to switch between the motors. That switch was never happening. So the jog motor was turning on, but because it wasn't connected to the load, it wasn't actually turning the load.
Well, yeah, that kind of happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of important to have that device there to switch between the two. But here's the kicker. The mechanics said, this is what the internal maintenance crew mechanics told my point of contact, who is an electrical side supervisor for that maintenance department. They told him, oh yeah, we checked all those linkages. They're fine. But it wasn't. But the real question is, was it because... so the mechanics missed it. But the real question is, was this caused because the operator didn't want to work, so he nudged it just enough for it to look like it was in place, but not actually engaged, so he could go, oh, the line's not working. I can't do this tonight now. Gotta wait for it to be fixed.
Oh yeah, line operators are like that, aren't they?
Notorious, especially the ones who are union, from what I've come across, because in another customer in another state has the line operators are actually part of a union, and if they throw the flag that, hey, there is an unsafe condition on this production line, they don't have to work until that concern has been addressed. So we were doing an update to the controllers of a production line a couple months back, and my point of contact, one of the maintenance managers there, was like, they're going to complain about the lighting. So, you know what? Before we hand the line back over to them, once we get done with all this wiring and testing on the new controls, we're redoing the lights on this line. We are not giving them that opportunity to delay it even more.
I mean, you'd think they'd have at least a little conception of, I don't work, eventually I won't get paid because this business will go bankrupt.
They don't care.
Yeah, a lot your lower level peons, you can tell them, hey, we need this to happen because of the health of the company, and most of them be like, what do I care? Because a lot of them don't realize and ignore the fact that if the company has financial troubles, who's the first ones on the chopping block? It ain't management.
Well, it ain't senior management.
No, your initial layoffs to cut overhead are people deemed as underperformers in the regular workforce. We do what we can. We try to help, and that's where we don't blow off problems when people have questions. We just sometimes it does take us a few to understand what the question is and work out the problem. Well, it looks like he's getting the additional help he needs with his amp issue.
I just wish modern electronics would
more serviceable.
Make it easy. Yeah, make it easy for you to get in the damn thing.
Oh, see,
yeah, it's really annoying when you've got a really nice monitor, and you're absolutely certain that all that's wrong with it is the main input fuse has blown, but you can't open the damn case to get in there to fix it.
Oh.
So right to repair? What?
Well, not just it goes beyond right to repair. It actually starts with a fundamental shift at the manufacturers. Yeah. Why produce something that can be field repaired when we can limit that? That way, when there is a failure, not if, when there is a failure, the most cost-effective option is not repair, but replacement of a new product, and we keep that market share. We keep that flow in the market of new products going to justify our production numbers.
While it was gone for 2 minutes, did we just start talking about Apple?
Oh, it's not just
actually,
Apple.
I was talking about Dell, but
close enough.
Same
right
mindset.
to repair, but yeah, you're getting there.
This right to repair is dead. I'm sorry, but it's a bad thing. But right to repair at this point is basically dead.
Tell you how bad this monitor is. There is a nice aluminium bezel around the outside edge of it. I've removed all of the obvious visible fasteners that hold it in place. It's obviously been bloody glued on. So to remove it would destroy it. Then I believe the monitor panel has been glued into the case.
Oh, they're pulling that. Yeah. Well,
I feel like that should violate right to repair. Honestly, that should, but...
Well, keep in mind, adhesive like that is cheaper than screws.
Yeah.
But they still screwed it together, so...
Oh, I know. They're doing shit ass backwards like that. And again, they're just screwing themselves in the end because of the... enough people are going to get pissed off. It's like, oh, you're doing this? Okay, I'll take my business elsewhere.
The reason why I refuse to buy Apple products is for that reason. You can't just go to, well, you can, but I mean, it's expensive as hell, but you can't just go anywhere and get it repaired for like $100 like I can my Android phone.
It depends on the Apple device, and here's the thing. What it runs into, even if you have the Apple Care coverage, you're still getting billed. And here's where Apple has been really screwing people over, is they will not properly diagnose something that is a repairable item and then overcharge by saying, oh, well, you need this part and this part and this part. You know, at this point, including labor, it would just be cheaper, buy a new device. That's what their service department is actually set up for, to be a feeder to their sales, to their product sales, not provide actual reliable repair services.
Unless it's like the only time they actually do reliable repairs if it's a recall.
Because they have to.
Yes.
I mean, I look at this one and I figure, I mean, it wasn't very old when it went fuck, so Dell had to replace it for me. But I guess it's still cheaper for Dell to replace it and bin the old one than it is for them to try and repair anything, because, well, I don't know, repair tax costs a lot more money than some peon to glue the monitor on a production line in China.
Yeah.
My laptop is a special case that's made by Dell. I had a gaming laptop from Dell. I'm not going to say the name because I'm not trying to endorse them because I don't really like them. But my laptop is the only Dell laptop I've seen that's easy to work on.
Yeah, one of the higher end ones. My work one, it took a week. Yeah, it took a week to get the screen repaired on my work laptop because they missold their service coverage, and they tried to say that the LCD screen stopped working due to being dropped. There was no drop damage on the case. I did not drop that laptop. I literally opened it and it wasn't working. I rebooted the laptop by a hard reboot with the button, and I saw a spidering in the upper right corner, which, guess what? When you're right-handed and you're opening a laptop, what side of the edge of the screen do you tend to lift up on? The right side, towards the right side. And that's where that spidering was the one time it actually took power. It ended up being an additional $300 or $400 to cover the cost of the repair. And then because of the way their scheduling worked, it took, once that was agreed upon, it took from Friday to Wednesday for the repair to actually happen. Yeah, Anamorphic Mind. You can also thank Jay Brown here. I'm well aware of Louis Rossman, and he pulls no punches with his view of the shenanigans that Apple pulls.
Yeah, he's going nationwide right now too, which is various states just to try and get right to repair.
Apple has a tight thing on the supply chain. It's probably the issue with them too, because like
yes
I mean,
and no.
Well, I'm talking about like you could criticize.
Sorry
other
for sounding ignorant. Jay, you go. Jay Brown, you can go.
I was just gonna say that Apple does limit who can be considered appropriate third-party technicians. It's just that for certain technicians that aren't able to get access to it, they limit the amount of what you can do, unless you're willing to sign away your life work basically to work for them in the Genius Bar.
I don't like the hardware replacement parts. Like they have a really tight hold on the actual replacement parts that people would need to even fix stuff.
A number of the items, yeah.
Okay. Sorry for my ignorance on laws, but isn't right to repair a federal law to an extent?
Not really.
Yeah, not exactly, because
I thought it had something to do with like the trade commission thing, like or is that warranty void stickers?
That's warranty
I think
void.
I'm referring to warrant.
Yeah, that's warranty void. So right to repair is at this point an individual state-by-state issue, because most of your because it's governing business practice, ultimately, which a business practice like that is handled more at the state level on things that are allowed or not, and adjudication generally goes through the state and local business commissions in addition to the legal aspects of the courts.
My thing is if warranty void stickers are illegal, then isn't it kind of implying that the government supports right to repair in a way?
No, it just means
Am I wrong in
they
that?
support your right to having a warranty that's...
You cannot be forced into a warranty. That's what that's about. It's one of those.
Have your warranty removed because you did something that was unrelated to the problem with your device.
That's it. Because if you notice, a lot of your warranty void stickers are put in places that are just wearable in normal use, often cases, like because it'll be like on the outside of the device over the edge of a cover. But if the device is just being handled, that warranty void sticker could be worn off. They are not robust stickers. They're not. They're basic tamper seals, which are meant to show any sort of manipulation.
So, Apple just goes down the route of putting those little moisture sensors on their board.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if you're just in a humid enough room, oh, water damage. No.
Oh, but it's water damage. See, it shows that you spilt something on it. You can pull out the motherboard and it could be dry as all get out. No sticky condensation, nothing. You
But if those moisture sensors popped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they don't pop, but they turn red. But
yeah, they flag.
Are we looking at Unicock's Twitters?
Oh boy. What was said leading up to this?
This is the top of it. This is Chesh taking the screenshot.
Yeah, but what prompted him to say it's time?
I have no clue. I haven't done any digging. But you'll like this one. Wait. Read her response yet. So if he wants to debate me, it's desperate now. I see how it is.
Well, it's not wrong.
How long have people been hating Unirock? When did that start?
Wait, in general or just amongst those of us here who know each other?
This group.
A lot of the flack against Uni started.
I know widespread hate for him was recent.
No, oh no, he.
Oh no.
His issues and people not liking him and calling him out on his behavior goes back years.
I'll pull up the channel.
There's a reason why his main
Sponsored
channel.
by vapes.
No, there's a reason why his main channel he does not do anything on, because he was causing so much shit with other creators and had gotten that channel into jeopardy that his monetization was removed. So that's why he started Unirock 2. Now, if you notice, each time he does this, and each time there's a new iteration of Jason's online presence, his subscriber count drops by a significant measure.
So here he was
at 36.2
on Unirock TV. He currently only has 21 videos available,
and none younger than a year ago. And that's a YouTube year, which could actually be closer to 2 at this point.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, it's a halfway to a second year, 18 months.
Okay, yeah.
Close enough.
So, and then that it was when he switched from that to go to Unirock 2. 16.9. Just a slight drop off, but now with the shenanigans that he's been pulling there, he decided, okay, let's make rock a lot. 1.2. But he's the master.
Please tell me that's 1.2
it's something
subscribers and not 1.2K.
It's 1.2K.
Sorry.
That's how much he owes in vape juice.
Well, now keep in mind, keep in mind, he does claim to be the master and knows exactly how YouTube works and how to maximize presence and everything on YouTube.
Bullshit. That's bullshit right there.
Yeah. Let's just say there's fun there. There's a reason why I have a counter that just a couple days ago ticked over 14,100 days since the last time he was actually honest.
Isn't he also streaming on D Live as well?
And Mixer.
Oh, is that
and
days
Periscope.
he was born?
Yeah, it goes back to his birthday.
Okay. When did you guys start hating him then? Just recently?
8 months ago. Almost 9. He decided...
He tried to pull some shit with you guys?
He started pulling shit with me directly, and that's when that whole thing started rolling about him, and it was shortly after that that I became aware of his history with other creators that goes back years.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to pull up a incognito tab really quick. Need to check to see if it's still valid.
Oh yeah, his DLive has got 1.46K followers,
which is probably a lot of overlap with his Rock a Lot.
Probably.
So.
So this man's like Keemstar, just without a following.
Or personality, or anything close to integrity, or knowing how to actually cultivate an audience in an appropriate way that is actually truly viable and beneficial.
By the way, in my Chrome incognito mode, looking at his investment firm's location, it's still there, Jared.
Oh, yeah, and the name.
Yeah.
But
what's the name?
But we're supposed to stop calling him Jason and use his channel tag, but he funnels everyone to PayPal, which is his name.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a channel, PayPal, at least make it your channel name.
The hyperlink is the actual web address has the channel name association there, but the display name on the account is his legal name. And then bitches that people know it and call him by it.
I mean, that's your own fault for putting your legal name on your PayPal, because you don't have to. You can put an online name on your PayPal.
Especially if it's for a business persona like that, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that means you would actually have to establish it as a business and do it appropriately for tax reporting. Huh. Wait a minute.
So based upon the mathematical projection of his subscribers, his next channel will only have 202.
200.
Maybe I'll make a bunch of stock accounts and just flood the subscriber numbers and never comment or watch a video.
Oh.
So it looks like he bought its subscribers.
But remember, Steve was the one who bought subscribers and bought comments, and Uni is and Jason is the only one who has evidence of this, and all he has is to point at bot comments that are also showing up on other creators' channels, because there's actually...
Oh, are you talking about the wannabe friends ones?
Not just that.
No.
They've changed what the message is.
Yeah, I think I've gotten a couple of them myself.
Yeah, Terry. The Aussie perspective, Terry Davies, he's gotten them.
I get them.
Me with 9 subscribers
I am
has not
Terry at the
gotten
moment,
them.
aren't I? Because Terry did get himself struck, unfortunately.
Has YouTube addressed that issue yet with the wannabe friends bot thing?
It's YouTube, so not really.
Like
they've acknowledged it's an issue. And apparently that's part of what happened with Team and his channel getting hacked, is they're using comments like that to backdoor the system and get into accounts that way. But as for an actual...
That is apparently how it works.
Yeah, but apparently the fix on
this
YouTube's end...
keeps changing.
Yeah, because that's one of the accounts. If I see something like that,
Did you notice I haven't interacted with it?
The only interaction I do is from there. Delete it. I do not open the comment. I do not click on the channel. I just, you're held for review. Delete.
It's not even held for review. It's published. I don't have too much.
I have mine. Well, look at go over the 3 dots. You should be able to just delete from there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remove. That's all I do.
So with I don't understand how the person's doing this, how they're like botting channels like that, you know. But I feel like it has something to do with the YouTube API being unsecure.
Correct.
That's
and it's linking to Discord, and that's how it gets around that security. So if your YouTube channel is connected to your Discord and you go through that way, that's how it's getting around YouTube's security side of it, is there's that cross-platform integration via the API, which is where I don't know if YouTube has fixed that yet. I don't think they have.
Yes, but of course it'd also be nice if YouTube could fix bloody notifications, wouldn't it?
There's so much on the platform and the way it actually functions that they need to fix, and they don't care.
Hey, at least it's not a power abuse of deer.
Oof.
What was that? Are you speaking from Earth 2?
The deer girl from Twitch.
Oh god.
Oh god.
That's who I'm referring to.
That person. So for those who don't know, those who are watching who aren't aware of this person is transgender, not an issue. Is a furry, not an issue. Not an issue. Hang on, we're going through the list. Is a very frequent Twitch streamer and game player on there. Not an issue. Former competitive gamer. Not an issue. But here's where the issues come in, is when you put all of that together and you have someone who ends up displaying signs of having a mental issue, where this person is on stream admitting to going out into their yard to get in touch with their dear self,
dear spirit,
dear spirit by actually going around on all fours, munching on grass, acting like a freaking deer while wearing Christmas tinsel type antlers, and then getting a position of authority with Twitch as a partner on their safety council to then, after it was announced, say, all you people who don't like me better watch out.
Oh, don't forget that all...
You can't get rid of me. Twitch is endorsing me. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I've got a tweet. I want you to see it, Jared. It's somebody parodying her every word she's said, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, when you look at what ferociously Steph has said after the announcement of that safety council and their position up on it, I am not surprised that Twitch, after the first meeting, said, no, bye-bye, you're not part of the group anymore.
Well, that's just it. I haven't heard officially that she's not a part of the group, but I heard she did get her hands slapped pretty hard.
I sent you a tweet in DMs, Jared, on Discord, and it's a parody thing about what she's saying.
Oh, yeah.
Inclusive game.
Yeah, the quartering.
Speaking of Twitter, though. I have the conversation from earlier pulled up, Jared.
Oh, so we got the source of that?
Let's talk about how voice chat is apparently an unfair advantage.
Oh my. You know,
and screen sharing isn't.
No. It's not just that voice chat in a game is an unfair advantage. It shouldn't be forced upon people who don't want to use their voice.
It's not forced upon anybody.
Not if you ask Steph.
Yeah. No, I was talking about the one that when I was at work and I commented on, see, we found a bonus topic.
Oh, yes. You know what? Let's go ahead and pull that up and let's just start at the original tweet and picture that was shown.
What about the thing where she called all gamers
all
white?
Gamers? Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the word to risk demonetization, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's just say that someone is letting their hate and persecution complex get the better of them on that. But let's have fun with this one. So, the shared image says the wealthy elite will fight tooth and nail against free college for 2 reasons. 1, it will be harder to fill the ranks of the military with poor people if college is free. 2, starting off workers with enormous debt is the greatest innovation that capitalism ever came up with.
No.
Let's just knock out the second one really quickly. Supply and demand. Ever hear of it?
What about on-the-job training, too? What about on-the-job training?
We'll get there.
Can I just say something here,
Go for
Jared, quickly? As somebody who is of an age and comes from a country where 30% of people were going into higher education, where we had essentially free higher education. And not only did we not have to pay tuition fees, we got a maintenance grant from the government for going to university to keep you alive and feed you and pay your rent.
And did the United Kingdom have a problem ever keeping their military at an appropriate manning level?
Did it F? Mostly because you still had to have the prerequisite educational standard before you went to university. It wasn't like, in fact, university admission in some ways was harder because you had to prove that you were worthy of your place at university before you went. Because obviously you don't want to be funding somebody to do a couple of years of university and then dropping out because they can't handle it, or even getting 2 terms in, because back then most British universities didn't do semesters, they did 3-term years. You get a couple of terms in and then drop out. And that's bad for everybody. So, from what I understand it was a lot harder to get into a British university if you were getting a grant than it would be to get into, say, an American university where you are paying for it.
Yeah, because it's funded directly by the student body primarily. The school doesn't really care. They care less about the likelihood of success. It's more, okay, we have these requirements that you need to meet in order to come in, and can you pay? Or can you get the financing to pay? Okay, you can. Okay, right. Now you're part of the competitive process to come in. Because there is still the admissions board, there's still that criteria to go in. It's not, well, for your larger 4-year universities, there is still that competition process for people coming straight out of high school to go in. If you are a non-traditional student, you don't have to worry about that stuff. If you're non-traditional and you can fund it, they'll take you.
It's always a hell of a lot easier getting in as a non-traditional student. I know that full well because I would have not made it past the competitive bit at the age of 18.
Hey, I'm back. I was gone for like 2 minutes.
Whereas after 9 years service in the Royal Air Force as a radar tech, getting into a university, although not a cinch, was a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and pull up my initial reply. So this is me speaking from my experience and what I have seen firsthand. My family growing up wasn't rich, wasn't poor. I didn't join the military for money or due to lacking intelligence. Premise number 1 is massively flawed. The acceptance criteria for enlistment in the U.S. military is higher and harder than most people believe. But sure, let's perpetuate from flawed information.
And me about to go in can also say for that. I'm the same way. It was because I was given an amazing job opportunity, and why wouldn't I have taken it?
Well, now, getting into it, there is some criticism, which I will be fair and responded to in kind. Like, let's go ahead and click on Chesh's direct response. Trying to say it isn't talking about military requirements at all. It's saying that it's free to join. Now, this is where I point out, and click on my standalone reply there. The implication was only people who can't go to college due to cost enlist. That's fundamentally incorrect. And being poor could actually prevent you from being able to join.
Oh, yes, it can.
The misunderstanding of military entry criteria is being perpetuated. That is the problem I pointed at.
Because the thing is whenever you join the military, they actually recently did this, is they check to make sure you're doing good financially before you can even join. If you have any debt, they won't let you in.
I actually point this out.
For security concern.
Exactly. Yeah. I pointed this out elsewhere in a reply on this thread. That is exactly why. It will affect your security clearance, which, guess what? Even as a cook, you have to... There is a certain measure of security clearance checks that happen on even the frickin' cooks.
Yep. Especially if you're going into the fleet or being deployed.
Yeah.
Well, everybody on the sub has a secret clearance, at least.
Well, you have to in that instance. But even on a surface ship, like a cook on a surface ship, undesignated seaman in deck department on a surface ship doesn't need a high security clearance. But you still have to not be at risk of being manipulated and coerced by an enemy.
Yeah, even I had a secret clearance.
What did you do, Burns?
I worked on fuel systems for B-52s.
Ugly German Truce asks, so you cannot become a private with debt but president? Here's the thing. It's not whether or not you have debt. It's how much debt do you have versus what your income was and is going to be. If your debt to income ratio is way out of whack, you are considered a security risk. There are people who actually were in my rate who temporarily lost their security clearance, and there was a question on whether or not they could complete their re-enlistment that was in progress because of their debt to income ratio. And
also,
the only way they got through it is by being able to support, justify, and sign a binding document that their enlistment bonus, their initial payout of their re-enlistment bonus, was going to settle these identified debts to negate what they were identifying as a security risk. And this guy was divorced, and that was the reason why he had those debts, is because he got slapped with that shit in the divorce by the judge.
And even in my rate, this one guy the rate I'm going into, there's this one guy who had like $63,000 in gambling debt. So some guy contacted him with the amount he needed to settle his debt, and he gave him the plans, and guess what?
Bye-bye security clearance.
It was a chief. It was a sting operation. He got 10 years in prison.
Well, and then in regards to being a private and not being able to get in with debt and being president, it's the position of the presidency that automatically gets you the clearance. You can't be president without having that clearance. And since your financials are actually nobody's business when it comes to being president, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, the clearance comes with the office. It's.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas when you're enlisting or even joining as an officer through a commissioning program, you have to be accepted in, and part of the acceptance is the ability to get through the appropriate security clearance. And yeah, that was a fun one too.
Yeah. This guy, I think, was just trying to be obtuse with you just to be.
Yeah, but I shot that down quick. So he said,
he goes on elsewhere too.
Yeah. He said, well, the biggest thing was he had mentioned that, well, when you go in, you can get your education for free. No.
No, it's a loan, isn't it? It's the GI Bill's like a loan, is it not?
No, well, the GI Bill is an investment. So I actually explained that, touch on that elsewhere, because actually it was that one. So if we want to go back to that one.
Yeah, because I used my GI Bill, and I had what did I have? Pre 9/11. What was it? Chapter 30. It was called
31.
Yeah. 31 now.
Yeah. So now go back because we need to. Back again. No, it was replying to that guy. Under.
Yeah, it's further in here. It is
where I replied. It wasn't there. It was under Chesh's when I noticed him, because it was part of that one tweet that I did.
Yeah. It was
so there, and then my response below that education isn't free even in the military. There's a financial transaction somewhere at some point that has to be funded. Also, because he had mentioned being in constant military action since Obama. No. The constant military action predates Obama by a long shot.
Yeah.
It's even before Bush, right?
Yes.
We've been actively involved since Bush Sr. in some form or another throughout every presidency at that point.
Yeah, we're about 30 years now.
But how many years since 1945 has the Royal Air Force Regiment not had troops on deployment in an active shooting war zone?
I would say probably 5 to 6.
That's far too big a number.
Wow. Good.
0.
No, wow.
There hasn't been a year since 45 that the Royal Air Force Regiment has not had troops on the ground somewhere being shot at.
All right, so through here, well, I know for a fact, at least back in the days, I was 18, and you had to either join the military for almost a year or do social service, and they took what they could and had no shortage of people. And I bet it's the same in the U.S. Yeah, it was probably around then. Same in the U.S. Of course, they also take the smart ones, but if you're not physically fit, you just get to the ground troops as cannon fodder. As long as you can follow orders. I like you, to me, but I believe you have a romantic view of the military. They took Jason after all. No, I have a realistic view, and here's the thing. Standards for recruitment are flexed when manning needs increase. That's not where the U.S. military has been for over a decade. U.S. does not have a mandatory service requirement, nor do they simply take every able-bodied applicant. Jason got in because he didn't have a record then.
Like, isn't MEPS designed to disqualify people from joining the military in a way?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So your first step of filtering is your recruiter. Military Entrance Processing Station.
Oh, you mean the recruiting office?
No.
No,
This is a step
after you
after.
go to your recruiter.
It's kind of a regional thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's the regional medical and other filtering segment. So your recruiters are more at the local level. That's step 1. Then you go to MEPS, which does the actual medical screening and everything and the testing. That's step 2. And then you go to basic training, which is the final filtering on whether or not you're actually going to make it and stay in. Not everyone who shows up to boot camp actually gets through it.
A high number do because they volunteered to do this, but that doesn't mean there's some failures or there isn't any failures.
No, there are failures and there are other reasons that people don't complete training.
Depending how many times you get recycled.
Yeah, you get recycled, you get given those extra opportunities, but you're only given so many chances.
Yep.
I can remember back when I joined, I wouldn't meet the minimum standards for the Army, for example.
No. So, Fred Knotts just asked, don't you have to do a basic fitness test just to get in also? They are back to reinforcing that now.
Yeah.
What, there was a point where you didn't have to pass your PFA to get in?
Not on day 1, no. Because they would work with you and make sure that by the end of it you could pass a PFT before you left boot camp. That's part of the flexing of requirements, where if you have everything else and you are close enough on the physical requirements like height, weight, and PT performance, if you are close enough, I think it's if you're within 5% of being a bare minimum pass, they would still bring you into basic training to get you over that 5%. But now you have to be no more. You can fail one segment of PT test 1 and continue on with your division, and you're given that first PT test a lot sooner now than when I went to boot camp.
Yeah, I think over here.
Well, I like.
So, then we have through here you have them talking about it not being a bad idea for the military PT requirements, utilizing that sort of training mentality and everything at the high school level in gym class instead of what's currently done. I do kind of agree there, but good luck getting a fucking teenager of that age and emotional maturity to do it. Good luck.
You know what the scary thing is? My marching band stuff prepared me for boot camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would not believe some of the people I've seen pass the PFA at the Citadel. You would not imagine how fat some people are and still pass that shit.
Well, and that's why there's 2 phases. You have to be within the BMI requirements and pass the actual PFT. If you fail one or the other, it's a fail total.
That's the same thing at the Citadel.
Yeah,
I don't know
military
how some
wide.
people...
But anyway, so Present 99 decided to also say, healthcare for free and education for free are the biggest ways to get people in the military in the U.S. Oh boy. Go ahead and click on my response to this one. Both are lies. As military, you're paid less under the justification of the medical coverage non-monetary benefit. The GI Bill benefit is actually a paid investment that must mature before using it. There are other programs available while on active duty, but also limited access. It's not free.
And then the guy says generalization.
I don't think some of these people actually realize like what the actual military paycheck is.
Yeah.
Of course, none of them have actually seen one.
So this one I find hilarious. Maybe, but but also don't forget you get paid in the military and don't have almost no expenses yourself.
Bullshit.
So a bit of your payment for healthcare and or education sounds like a deal to me. There are a lot of things that you don't realize that the reason why I have no expenses is because I'm living either on a ship or I'm living in the barracks. And with that, I also get limited to what I can and cannot do in the barracks, like female visitors and things. It's always
You can squirrel. And I'll be honest. You can squirrel away some money if you're single
and have no life.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say, do they not charge you for your food and accommodation?
Not here and here's saying U.S. military. Yes, you get a basic allowance for sustenance, but then you have a deduction to fund the galley that you're supposed to be eating at, whether you eat there or not. So they're giving you the money to eat and then taking it back.
Oh no, Jared. Sorry. In the British military, we get our you get your pay, and then you get your food and accommodation deducted from your pay, unless you are on deployment. If you're on deployment, you don't pay for your food and accommodation. No. Otherwise, you do.
Still happens in the U.S. military. You still get the allowance for sustenance, and then it's taken out.
We would actually have to pay food and accommodation.
It's on paper. They add the BAO and then basically take it away.
Yeah, it's the accounting magic, and it actually shows up on your leave and earnings statement where we're giving you. At the time I was in, it was $230 something, maybe $240 a month for basic allowance for sustenance. And then when I was single living in the barracks, it would come right back out. Now, here's the thing. At the time I was in and an E3 and below, the average paycheck after taxes and after all of that funny magic math that they do on, hey, we're giving you this, but then we're taking it out here.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky to see $700 a paycheck.
So let's see here. Do we have BAH?
BAH right there.
Yep. Oh, so here's BAS for 2020.
Oh, it's $375 now.
Yep.
And cheaper for officers.
Yep. Well, they get paid more in base pay, so it's understandable. And service members who draw BAS are required to pay for their own meals, even when provided for by the government. So the BAS allowance that I don't even think I got BAS when I was in the barracks. If it was so little, it was like $5 or something like that.
Well, again, this is where back when I was
where I was, funny math.
It was given then taken away.
Yeah, because I had a chit, a paper chit to go to the galley on base and be like, "Here's I want my food."
Yeah, well, for where I was, what they actually did is when you would go into the chow hall and when you would go into the mess hall, you would actually use the chip on your ID card. You would use that smart chip.
Jared, I went in before you did.
Yeah.
I had the green ID card.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. When I went in, they changed it from the chip to being tied to your ID that you had to check in with before going through the line to actually fill your tray.
Yeah, they did that in the reserve. When I was in the reserves, they did the same thing. You had to scan your card in at the register.
Well, let's see. What would be the rate of pay? BH if I was still at E5. I would get 1974 near where I'm planning on living. God, I still
Let's
wish
see
I
what
got
it is. Let's see what it is where I live.
I just need a zip.
29485.
For an E5, it will be with dependents 1860, without 1587
That's per what period?
per month.
Yeah, so where it is,
In,
and that's right now.
because in the US you often get paid fortnightly, don't you? In a lot of jobs.
First and 15th.
Yeah.
Do the zip code for Whidbey Island.
All right. Give me just a second. You're going to make me actually think of one here.
Well, it would be Oak Harbor.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's.
Are you using Microsoft Edge?
No.
Part of the back to the college thing, though. Part of the U.S.'s problem, though, I think, is I don't really think I realize it is compared to like some of our allies. College is overvalued.
Oh, and I mentioned
Right, so
that. I mentioned that elsewhere.
So Oak Harbor, with dependents E5 1413.
Yep.
And without dependents 1260.
So here's thing. So that's that's the current fiscal year. That's more than I got. Now here's the kicker. If you're in base housing, you see that come in and then immediately go out to the authority that's actually managing the base housing.
And then in Bremerton.
Yeah, how does that frickin' work?
Bremerton.
What's Bremerton?
That's the main Navy base in Washington. And then you got Bangor, which is in the same area. This is actually the zip code for the sub base. Let's go back to when I was in.
How does mail work on a sub? Can you guys answer that? Like if you're on a sub
buoy.
and somebody sends you mail.
Yeah, you haven't heard of the mail buoy?
Wait, that's a thing?
Of course it's a thing. How else are we supposed to get our mail? Helicopter comes out, drops it into the buoy, seals back up, and they pull it back in.
That's pretty cool, actually. I'm gonna look that up.
So it just follows you around till the Vinci gets to you. I mean, it's like
just like any mail, you know.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be
APO,
like if you were on like a sub, it would go to wherever you surfaced next. There's my
it
keyboard.
might meet you at a port. I mean, it's things get to you eventually. Yeah, we'd pull in somewhere, and the mail might actually already be at the port we're pulling in. You know, they know when we're going to be somewhere.
Yeah. I'm typing a response to the whole. So it's a great deal for those people. Join or work at McDonald's, and it's like what I have typed right now. While I was in as an E3 with no dependents living in the barracks, the weekly pay after all additions and deductions was just over $300. We still had to pay for food, housing, uniform maintenance, and other basic necessities, in addition to everything else, which... Could you live on a couple $100 a week?
Yeah, I've done it before. I used to live on $200 a week.
Yeah, but how much of a social life do you really have at that point of your own accord?
I managed my money pretty good, so I had a pretty good social life, but it was hard. It was hard too.
Yeah. That's exactly the point. It's not what people are trying to make it out to be.
See, people make it out to be that you have no expenses whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not factoring in that, you know, if you want a car, you have to make the car payments or save up to buy one outright.
Or have the funds aside to pay for taxis and Ubers and whatnot if they're even available in your area.
Yep.
Do you tend to have the equivalent of the NAFI bar on American bases?
Most bases, but they cut down on what was actually available in the enlisted club. The E-clubs tended to be dry. Your officers and chiefs clubs had alcohol, but they also had more funding and everything.
So...
Yeah, we'll comment. Ours were good. I mean, I remember the E Club at Groton was actually pretty good when I was there.
Yeah, it kind of went downhill though because people screwed it up.
I can imagine probably that. To be fair though, I mean they did let the Coastie cadets use the place too, so it was already kind of down.
Trying to figure out what those asterisks are for.
I think
pay amounts with associated pay grades marked and became shaded effect after July. Okay.
Oh, the mid-year raise that they did then.
Yeah. So this was what I was getting paid for most of 2000.
I was never an E2.
And then I got this towards the latter half.
I was only technically an E1.
Yeah, technically I was never an E1 because for the 2 months of basic training I was paid as an E2. My promotion and advancement to E3 took effect immediately upon graduation.
Well, actually, it was kind of funny with me with my because I was, when I said I was never technically an E1, I was paid E1 during boot camp. However, upon graduating boot camp, I was automatically E3'd and back paid for the E3 through boot camp.
Yeah.
So technically, I was never an E1.
So wait, will they do that for me too, where they'll back pay me?
It's either your pay will always be E3 or upon graduation you will be backdated. The difference.
Yeah.
Assuming the nuke program hasn't changed, it would do exactly like what mine was, where you would be an E1 on paper in boot camp, but you would be auto E3 at the end of it and getting back paid. So you technically would never be an E1.
Wow, that's how much my sub pay was.
Yeah.
Nerd, but I did.
Oh yeah, I remember it wasn't that much. Yeah.
Well, let's go see what it is now.
So, no matter what, even if I didn't choose the nuke route, I would have been an E3 upon enlistment.
Yeah, so same thing. Your first paycheck may have been as an E1 guaranteed, but by completion of basic training, you would be either backdated or already corrected and backdated up to E3.
Basically, everybody in boot camp's treated like they're an E1. So.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Looks like it hasn't got much better.
Fuck.
E4 went up
more?
a whole $5 in the last, 20 years? Now, the positive by this over C pay, though, is that the sub pay is paid for you as long as you're attached to a submarine.
Yeah.
How much is C pay?
Even if it sits at a dry dock for 6 months, you're getting
because you are attached to a deployable command, and so that's where on the aviation side we had the redheaded stepchildren designation, the OPDET. When you are ship's company, you step foot on the deck plate to check in, your sea time counter starts. You check in and leave the command, That's when your sea time counter stops. When you are so as ship's company, your entire tour, your sea counter's going the entire time as ship's company.
Hold on, no. You've got that wrong, actually, because the sea counter only runs when you're actually deployed.
I was.
Yeah, when you're sitting at the pier, your sea counter is not running.
I can tell you, I did not spend 2 years in the water. I spent 2 years on the Kitty Hawk, but not in the water. When you are ship's company, that sea time counter, it's when you are part of that command. The only time my sea time counter stopped was when I checked out of the Kitty Hawk, and then it didn't turn back on until I checked in for my op det on the Stennis. And then when I left the Stennis, it stopped again. And then a couple months later, I was off active duty.
So, did you guys hear about, here's a little, did you guys hear about they're having trouble decommissioning the, they're fighting over how to decommission the Enterprise right now?
Yeah, because of cost. Because
I don't know what.
Well, it's the first nuclear-powered carrier.
She's decommissioned. Already.
It's breaking her up. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's.
They have the methodology down for a sub, because they've been decommissioning nuclear-powered submarines for how long now? But the Enterprise, not only was she the first nuclear power carrier to be commissioned and enter service for the U.S. Navy, it's also the first to be decommissioned.
I love how, like, the Department of Energy is telling the Navy, oh, you got to figure out what to do with the nuclear waste.
Well,
basically.
Well, so where that conversation is between the regulatory commissions, and where the civilian authority has no control or knowledge or experience with Navy reactors, because they're maritime reactors. They're not facility commercial power reactors.
Right.
The basic function of them are compatible, but the application differences provide unique hurdles. So that's where the civilian authority is like, we don't know how to deal with those types of reactors. You guys do. You figure it out.
Actually, the real learning curves when they decommission the Nimitz.
Well,
what's the problem with the Nimitz?
Well, the problem with the Nimitz, you got to realize, is it's not really necessarily a problem with the Nimitz per se. It's that the Enterprise is a little bit easier to handle, because technically the reactors on the Enterprise were actually modified from submarine reactors. The reactors on the Nimitz weren't.
Well, here's the hurdle, though. They know how to, the contracts and the contractors know how to break up a submarine to get to the reactor space to take care of that aspect. They have how many reactor spaces to deal with on the Enterprise?
2.
8.
8.
Wait, 8?
There are 8 reactors on the Enterprise.
Has 2. The Enterprise, the Nimitz actually has reactors designed for a surface ship. When they built the Enterprise, she was one of the first nuclear surface vessels. They did not have.
I thought she was the first, wasn't she?
The Enterprise.
I think she was the absolute first. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she actually is the reactors. She wasn't the first nuclear vessel in the world. She was first surface one.
The first surface one.
Yeah, sorry, I meant the first surface vessel in service in any navy in the world to be nuclear power.
They did not have a reactor design for surface ships at the time. She is actually using 8. She's basically using the exact same types of reactors that were on the skipjack. She just has 8 of them.
I can see why they're having trouble now.
And again, it's how do they tear apart the ship to get to the reactors without it sinking on them?
You cut it in half.
Well, and that's where they're going to end up learning a lot on how to deal with this and then be able to apply it to the Nimitz. But you also have the difference in that, especially your Flight 2, the Roosevelt on edition of the Nimitz, they were built with a modular design, so they'll actually be easier to deal with on the dismantling in that aspect. But because of how many reactors and where they are located in the ship and in the hull, there are a ton of hurdles to deal with on just how to get to them to then package them and ship them off for disposal. Now, is that going to take place in Virginia? Because the original plan was actually to tow the Enterprise up to Washington and have it done there. That way the reactors could be removed there and then taken for disposal in that area, which is where the submarines go for breaking up. And then the rest of the hulk of the Enterprise would go down to Brownsville for the rest of the dismantling process. However, there's finding out that with how much they would have to tear into the Enterprise to get to the reactors to remove them, even going straight down through the flight deck, through the hangar, all the way down that way, and vertically lift them out, you would pretty much be breaking up the entire ship there anyways.
Yeah, the submarines are easier because all you do is you basically cut out the reactor compartment, then you weld the other two halves together, and then you can just tow it wherever you want to go.
Yep. Yeah, so they had a documentary on how they did that with the Russian reactors too. They seal it, and they take them to a disposal yard.
And I'm pretty sure the Russians' disposal yard is just some random part in the snow fields. They just drop them there, and then just don't worry about them because nobody lives by it.
That's also why all those plans of hey, turn the Enterprise into a museum keep getting scrapped with just how much they have to tear into the thing just to deactivate it. It's
I bet you refueling that was a nightmare.
It basically comes down to it's like we want it as a museum ship. Well, once the nuclear recycling program gets done with it, there's not going to be much left to be a museum ship.
No, there's not. Which is where the argument for that they should have put the Kitty Hawk on donation hold as a museum and had that be the museum ship of a more modern supercarrier made sense, because to decommission the Kitty Hawk, there was none of that concern when it came to it. Yeah, you had the petroleum cleanup of the fuel source for the boilers, but
it's no different than any other museum ship. So.
Exactly. But no nuclear carrier will be able to survive to be a museum ship because of where the reactor space is and just how much needs to be gutted to get to it and remove it.
I've heard there's been plans of actually maybe donating the island, though, which would be nice.
Yeah.
Have the island go out as a museum somewhere. But
you could donate sections of it, not the entire hull.
Or there won't be an entire hull. That's
that's exactly why.
Here's the new OJT program, dismantling a ship. Just give the teenagers a grinder and here you go, start grinding. That'll pay for your college.
Okay, Ugly German Truths said in the chat that the Long Beach was the first surface ship.
Was it? Okay. I couldn't remember if it was the Enterprise or Long Beach. But...
Well, then they were
they were
design,
about the same time. They were close to one another.
They were running concurrently.
Yeah.
What is CGN mean?
And I guess
Cruiser Guided Missile Nuclear, CGN.
You're gonna need to learn this stuff. So let's have some fun with ship and aircraft designations.
As somebody from outside of the US, I've heard of the Enterprise. I might not have heard of the Long Beach.
Well, yeah. So the Long Beach. So CG. What type of ship is that?
Cruiser guided
I'm going to guess that's cruiser.
So anytime you add N onto the end of a ship's designation, letter designation, what does that indicate?
Nuclear.
Yep, the reactor power. So what is a CV?
CV is a carrier. Is a carrier.
Aircraft carrier.
So a CVN.
Hang on. CV. You really need to get this specific. CV is aircraft carrier multi-role.
Okay.
Because guess what other designations have been used and are actually still eligible to be used? What's CVA?
Carrier. I wouldn't know what CVA is.
Carrier fixed wing attack.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed that.
So
did the Essex class escort carriers have were they CVs or were they?
They started out as CVs, but when the
CVL
was what they got you had a couple designations. So your Essex class were with the Forrestal class coming in. Forrestals were all CVA. Your Essex class some of them would be CVA, but most of them were either CVE or CVS.
Furball, that was pretty funny.
I got one for him. LPH.
Ooh. Well, we'll play with those in a few, but so
okay.
CVS.
Like furballs.
So
ship designation. What would that be?
It would be S is.
So start at the beginning. C.
It would be a carrier.
C.
It would be a carrier.
CV.
Which is a carrier multi-role.
Well, CV is carrier multi-role, just CV. When you add the third letter, the V is actually the designation for fixed wing. Okay,
so carrier, fixed wing, CV. What was the last letter?
S.
S would be. I don't know what S would be. Or not electronic warfare.
Nope. It does have to do with the it does have to do with the warfare type. So think about it. What would you be using the carrier air wing to go after if you're not doing an attack roll?
Surface warfare.
Really?
Yeah, that's my logical.
Don't we have other ships that fit the role for surface warfare combatants?
Oh, space, probably.
Nope.
I don't know. You got me at a loss here. Okay, German Truth said sub warfare. I'm gonna go with that one.
Yes, it is a submarine aircraft carrier.
Submarine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to deduct these things without the help of the internet. So.
Yeah, and this is this type of stuff that is going to be part of your BMR.
Okay, he's right. All carriers do surface warfare.
Well, in a way. They have all carriers that are in use now are multi-role. So they do the anti-sub warfare, they do attack roles, which is land or sea attack, and they have the fighter component for self-defense.
Right.
So, CVL.
Littoral. That would be a littoral aircraft carrier.
Nope.
No?
Light.
Okay.
Yep, that's what the short-hulled Essex class were reclassified as CVL. Because they were smaller, they could not carry a full air wing. Carrier, fixed wing,
they were
light.
mostly designed for carrying the combat air patrol, weren't they? For
escort duty.
Escort, yeah.
And then you have ones that are in between where they were a long haul, but they weren't getting the full ASW refit, so they went to CVE, carrier, fixed wing, escort. Now, in World War
Okay.
in World War II, there were other classes of carriers that were smaller than the Essex that were always CVE escort class carriers, lovingly referred to as Jeep carriers.
Furball, there are 11 carriers in service right now.
Yep.
U.S. carriers.
Yep. Okay. So now let's really have some fun.
How about? I got a good one for you.
Huh.
An
What is
LSD.
Yep.
That's a drug, I know that, but that's
that'd be a landing ship something, wouldn't it?
Alan, we're teaching the fresh meat.
Sorry.
Yeah, it would be landing. Isn't an LSD a type of destroyer?
Nope.
Maybe. No. Does the L stand for littoral?
Nope.
Landing. Okay. I'm LS. So based on the support, it's a landing support something.
Nope.
Okay. I'm at a loss.
LS, landing ship. D, dock. It has a wet well.
Oh, so that's like the.
So for
those are like
the ones that deploy landing craft.
Which actually this will help. What is an LCAC? LCAC.
Ugly German just put it in the chat. Landing aircraft, air cushioned.
Yep. All right.
That's like the ones that are like hovercrafts that like just beach.
Yeah. All right. So which was the one that you said, Tech? LPD?
Oh, LPH.
Oh, LPH. Oh, yes. Those are fun.
Those are landing. Those have helicopters on them. They're landing. No. H stands for helicopter. I know that.
Yeah.
LP. I'm at a loss for the LP. Is L
so what's
still
L?
landing?
Yes.
Yes. What's the P
landing?
stand for?
Patrol.
Oh.
Close.
What does a carrier look like?
Yeah. Yeah. What does the flight deck look like?
It's flat. Oh, those are like the those really short carriers designed for helicopters. I know what they are. I don't know what the P would be.
But what does it look like? What would a P word?
It's a gigantic what?
What is a P word for the top of a desk?
Plane.
If you have an elevated thing that has that's flat on the top, what do you call that starts with a P?
I'm at a loss here for this one. Just let me
a speaker might speak on a big flat elevated thing. What is that thing usually called?
It kind of rhymes with atform.
Platform. Okay.
Yes.
Landing platform helicopters.
Yep. So, let's keep the green teamers happy. Ooh, here's a fun one. LCC.
Ooh.
Landing. So L is always a landing craft.
Nope.
Oh, so this one's different.
Yep, that's why I picked it.
Stands for limp cock.
You're an ass. LCC. I've heard of it before.
Okay. Well, here's a question. How many ships have that designation in the Navy?
One, maybe? Oh, is that the
two?
The new
No, there are two. And both were built and commissioned about coming up on 50 years ago.
Yeah, 64 is when 70 was when it was commissioned. Was one of them was.
Yep.
LCC. So that what would be ships that are only two? That's
okay, so that's what it stands for.
That's one small class of ship.
It is. It's two.
Are they small ships or big ships?
Mid. They're about the length of a cruiser, about the same height, but they do not fill the same role.
Did we cover LCACs yet?
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
we already covered LCAC.
Okay. That was one of my options for sea duty when I got done with sea school.
I could not tell you.
All right, so in this case, L is actually for the overall group that the rest of your L designations are associated with.
Littoral.
No. Amphibious.
Oh.
Because, wait, what is the job of an LSD, an LPD?
Landing onto, or...
And who is being landed?
Marines.
The Gator freighters. So your Gator, what are the Marines known for? Amphibious operations.
Right.
So what does the CC stand for then?
Command.
Yeah, that's actually what they are. LCC is Amphibious Command Ship. There are 2 of them. One is stationed in Yokosuka. The other is stationed in Naples. I know it's Mediterranean forward deployed. The Mount Whitney is in the Mediterranean. The Blue Ridge is in Japan.
Yep.
Okay.
And the Blue Ridge is also the name of the barracks that I was in basic training.
It's also the name of a mountain range near where I live.
Yep. The Blue Ridge Mountains.
And she's the oldest.
Did they do that up in Great Lakes as well? Where all the
they still do.
Are named after ships. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Blue Ridge is the oldest deployable warship right now.
Fred, give me one that's hard.
What did Fred? Oh. Yeah, no, we're staying away from those. I know he knows those. So let's.
What are they?
Here's a good one. LHD.
Ooh. It's another landing ship, or aids in landing, and it has a dry dock.
Here's the kicker. I gave you this one because there are 2 names for it.
Oh God. It's a landing dock ship. Is the H for helicopter?
Yes.
Landing helicopter dock.
Yep. LHD landing helicopter dock, also called the multi-purpose amphibious assault ship.
Okay.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. But because
that's why we give everything initials.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of times you can tell what the ship is intended to do, what mission role it's for, by its designation. So let's go ahead and have some fun with some other ones.
I know aircraft pretty well, so that's...
Okay, well then let's... Oh, I'm going to throw a fun one out there for you. So yeah, we already went through those, because there's only a few of those. We'll
Large Hadron Divider. That's a pretty good one.
No, we'll go through that after. Oh, I know why. I'm looking at the wrong list. I'm looking at just that. So let's go with this list. You know what? Of course you don't want to find the list by that. You know, sometimes Wikipedia is stupid.
All this talk of ships and seamen, I just had to join.
I was gonna send a super chat that said "I'm stupid, don't worry," and I don't have my card linked to my YouTube.
Oh, this is gonna be epic.
There aren't currently in any, but this one is technically isn't retired yet because it could potentially be used again. But SSNR.
Oh yeah.
That is a good one. Yeah, that they could do that one at any other choice.
Is that a retired fast attack?
Nope.
No, not retired. No.
Oh, here you go. How about
One at a time. 1 sec. Let's see if he gets it.
Refurbished.
Nope.
Nope.
I have radar. No.
Nope.
What does the military like to do that begins with R? Especially the sub-community.
Reconnaissance.
Should say, what is the Navy like?
Reconnaissance.
Nope.
Yeah, reconnaissance.
Nope.
So that's
Nope.
no.
Nope.
ruin things?
Aviation side, it would be recon. Do we want to give the name of one of the ships that had the designation? That might help them.
You mean the NR1?
Would that
Doesn't
be
really help
submarine
any.
warfare? Would that be submarine warfare?
All submarines do submarine warfare.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, I was actually thinking the name of a chipmunk character.
I don't know any of the Alvin and the Chipmunk characters.
Alvin was the name of a submarine that was used for what?
Oh, robotics.
Research.
Robotics. Oh, research. Okay, Alvin, I was thinking of robotics because it was isn't that the one that found the Titanic?
Did they use Alvin for that one?
Yes, I think they did.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a designation for you.
What?
The only boat that had a crew of only nukes.
This designation is, I don't know if it's still used, but it's IX.
X is an experimental thing. Right?
Yep. The only I'm sure there's other ships that had it, but the Sea Shadow was an IX class. She's already been scrapped.
If I remember correctly, didn't this have like an open exposed to the sea reactor?
Oh, the NR1?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
Now let's go. Let's go ahead to really throw him for a loop. I'll even give you a hint. This is an aviation squadron type designation. VR.
Top Gun?
No, VR.
And it doesn't
Would
stand
that
for
be
virtual reality.
I'm actually in VR right now, but because my laptop's just in a weird spot. But VR reconnaissance.
Nope.
No.
Research.
Nope.
I have no idea.
So when the designations were started, V. What was V for from the ships?
Vertical.
No. Fixed wing.
Oh, so it would be a fixed wing attack, right?
R? Nope. So the actual designation, and this is where keeping the letter designations the same historically, but changing what it actually stands for, really fun. VR, a VR squadron. So like VR, oh, what's a good one? VR 62, the Nomads, are a fleet logistics support squadron.
Oh, so they're like the
They are all reserve squadrons.
Oh.
These are part of the military sea lift. These are reserve squadrons. So you have your mix of drilling reservists and full-time reserve support. to do logistic deployment and delivery. Now, here's one that will actually throw it for a loop, because I will tell you right now, this one, they are not reserve squadrons. These are active duty squadrons. VRC.
Okay. Would the R still stand for attack, reserve,
it was
combat?
Was attack part of the prior one?
No,
VR was what?
Fixed wing, reserve.
So
VR
hang on.
logistics.
Hang on. What was VR?
I'll be back, by the way.
Okay.
VR was fixed wing fixed wing reserve.
Nope. Now
So
is a fixed VR originally stood for fixed wing reserve. But the current designation, what it actually stands for now, VR, Fleet Logistics Support. This is the cargo.
Okay.
This is the cargo arm of aviation.
So it would be carrier. C
Nope.
would be carrier.
Nope. VR.
Damn it.
It's Viking River Cruise. That's what VRC stands for.
VR chat. If you don't know them, that's what makes it hard.
Exactly, and this is why I threw these at you. It's composite. VRC are your Fleet Logistics Support Composite Squadrons. So what ends up happening?
Is that like a bunch of them?
No, there are
like a bunch of different.
There are two squadrons, one East Coast, one West Coast, but they are subdivided into individual detachments that are then associated with individual carrier air wings. These are your COD, your carrier onboard delivery squadrons.
I was going to say, are they the trash haulers?
No, not trash. These are personnel and logistics hauler. Navy trash, we just throw that shit over.
VRC 30, the providers?
The providers and the rawhides.
That would be VRC 40?
VRC 40 are the rawhides. VRC 30 are the providers, which they're... So, East Coast, all of the debts still go by rawhides. On the West Coast, they decided to change some of them. Only 2 of them actually go by providers. The one attached to your actual control admin, which is just VRC 30 providers, and Det 5 over in Japan.
Okay.
So who's ready for the rough video here?
Go for it.
With sound this time.
Nice.
Yep. All right. What's a fun one? Ooh, here's a fun one that actually makes sense. VT.
VT. Vertical takeoff?
Nope. What does V stand?
Bacon.
What does V stand for?
So we're still talking about old.
This is an aviation squadron.
Okay, so V would be still would be the still fixed wing, or we passed that stuff. Okay, so VT. Tracking?
Nope.
Trainer.
Yep. Fixed wing training. Well, training, fixed wing. So most of your squadrons here are going to be called training. Where's a good one? So VT2, training 2, the door birds. So one that you was mentioned before. Here's a twofer. VX and VXS.
Fixed wing experimental.
That's what the letters originally stood for. What do you think the actual name is now?
It's experimental still, right?
Nope.
The X.
Well, it originally stood for fixed wing experimental. They still do that job, but they've tweaked the name to something that is actually more correct. Because does the actual Navy do experimental and prototypes?
No.
What do they do?
Isn't that the Air Force's job?
No, it's individual companies that do the actual experimentation.
Is it like testing them out in a way to see if they're suited for duty?
Yes, air test and evaluation. Now, what do you think the S stands for when you add it in?
Surveillance?
Nope.
Suicide.
Nope.
Surface?
Nope.
Ow.
Oh.
Now, mind you, this is only one squadron that has this designation.
Stealth?
Only one?
Yep. Not stealth.
Stealth.
But only one.
I think I could make a guess.
Would it be...
Take a guess, Alan.
Shit.
Submarine.
Nope.
Special warfare?
Everyone give up?
Yes.
Scientific.
Interesting.
This one squadron, the Warlocks, is directly reports to the commander of Naval Research Laboratory. It was started up in 2004.
What's the Navy got to research? How the water moves and stuff? What do they research?
They actually work with NASA.
They also go down to Antarctica, don't they, for resupplies?
Yes. Not the VX squadrons, no.
Okay.
Those would be your VR, VRC, your fleet logistics support squadrons.
Got it. Ice cutters, things like that.
Yep. So, here's a good one, and actually, Jay, I'll let you ask it since you put it in the chat, and no one has gotten it right yet in the chat.
Marine, non-nuclear.
Oh, good answer.
Good answer, but what is the proper designation?
Subsurface guided missile.
Nope.
Kitty, no.
Want to take another guess?
Is the SS subsurface guided?
No.
No.
What does SSN stand for?
That would be like a fast attack, right?
Right, but the actual lettering will mean...
Oh, subsurface surveillance.
Nope.
I don't know then.
Submersible, and then the G means guided missile.
Guided.
Ship submersible nuclear. SSN. SSBN would be...
Ship submersible ballistic nuclear.
Yep.
Ballistic, and then the N would be nuclear.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's a fun one. Being on subs, you'll actually hear it. Not a U.S. designation, but it is utilized for NATO designations. SSK.
Submersible. Would that still be like a fast attack? Did my call cut?
No, it is a specific type of fast attack.
Guided missile fast attack? Like,
was there a G?
No.
So it's SSK.
Sub killer.
Actually, yeah, hunter killer.
Yep.
Oh, German Truth got that. He just said sub killer.
Yep, it's a submarine that goes on anti-submarine deployments. Generally is a designation for diesel electrics. And AIP technology is becoming more and more advanced. That I would not be surprised if the U.S. starts going back to some diesel electrics, at least for coastal stuff.
Oh, a good one. This one is retired, so this is going to be a free for all for everyone. SSR.
That would still be a submarine, but reconnaissance?
Close.
Not another research one, is it?
Nope.
No, it's the Regulus missiles.
Nope.
The AGGS.
Nope.
SSR, SS.
SSR. Radar picket. Because what did they do? What did they do after the Regulus was decommissioned? They turned them into radar picket ships.
What is a radar picket ship? I'm not familiar with that one.
Mobile radar platform for early detection.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Or you said. Go ahead.
Radars have a problem. They can't see over the horizon. You really need to forward deploy them.
Makes sense.
It's kind of handy if you can make it disappear really quickly, though, because radars generally have a really nasty little problem. They tend to shout. They tend to shout louder, or rather, you can hear them from much further away than they can get a return. So, when your radar aerial weighs 60 tons and requires a building with 2 floors that are both bigger than basketball courts, just to hold your radar equipment, in the age of guided missiles that will basically just home on your radar transmitter and remember where it was, being able to suddenly disappear is a bloody clever thing to do. Because, sitting in that big concrete blockhouse with that 60-ton hammer on the roof, you know that either an anti-radar missile is coming your way, or they're just going to drop a nuke on you. Because I can assure you, they know exactly where you are.
Do I need to pull up nuke map now?
No, don't pull up nuke map now. You'll just make me bloody depressed.
All right, so here's a good one. AOE.
Is that a boat?
It is a ship.
Okay. E is electronic something.
Nope.
Somebody sent me a video on Discord. AOE. Right?
Yep.
So that would be the only AOE I know is area of effectiveness.
Anyone want to take a guess?
Fast combat support ship.
Yeah.
Fast. What?
Go for it.
Fast combat support ship.
Yep.
Hey, Kitty, what's up?
Oh yeah, the USS Rainier.
Somebody
USS
said
Supply.
auxiliary oil escort.
Yeah, that's what it originally stood for, was because it's an auxiliary ship. It is a support ship. It's a supply ship.
Okay.
And you will, if you were surface, you would end up seeing one quite often. Where's a good one?
My room's getting humid.
Yeah, it's hot here where I'm at.
I think it's like 91 outside, even right after a rainstorm.
Ooh, here's a good one. MCM.
Ooh. Manual for Courts Martial.
Oh, I know. I actually know that one.
MCM. Is it a cruiser?
Nope.
Nope.
No, sir.
Mine. It's mine warfare.
Go ahead a little more specific. What
Mine.
type?
Is that like a ship that searches for mines or drops them?
Which do you think?
MCM. I feel like it drops them. So mine, carrier.
So close. It does drop stuff. But it is a mine countermeasures ship.
Oh.
They're even coming out with a UUV to help find mines and help the countermeasure boats.
Unmanned underwater vehicles.
Yep. Basically unmanned subs.
That's pretty cool. Who's driving?
I am.
Oh, they sent you for the beer run?
Raining. It's raining like hell. No. Went out for dinner and I'm driving back now.
I had sun showers like 20 minutes ago. It was like fun.
But it hasn't fucking stopped raining.
I know, right?
It's a holiday weekend in the UK as well. That means that actually it's a bank holiday. Today, traditionally in the UK, it should have been cold and raining, but it was actually pretty nice out there today, be it for a bank holiday Monday.
Hey, Alan, I went to the UK a couple of years back, and I was there for 3 weeks, and it only rained twice, and it wasn't cloudy the entire time. Is that a miracle?
Well, it depends which part of the UK you were in.
All
East
of it.
Coast or West Coast?
I was in like Scotland, and then I went over to Ireland, and then I went to like Wales and London.
Well, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, yeah, that's usually pissing down with rain because that's where the prevailing wind is coming from, roughly, and it also happens to be where the high ground is, so you get the rain shadow effect. Over on my half of the country, down the east coast, yeah, it tends to be dry quite a lot. Same in London, really, but I haven't lived in London for a long time.
So, I heard a lady got a little flippant with the police in Wales because Boris said she could go to the beach this weekend.
I read that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
All right, back to the fun. All right, I'll give you a bit of a hint on this one. Another aviation squadron type, VAW.
Fixed wing attack, or you know, with how the aviation ones work, it's a fixed wing. I know the V is fixed wing, and A, I have a feeling is an attack thing, and W is warfare.
Its lineage does come from attack squadrons, but that's not what it stands for now.
Anti-ship warfare.
Nope.
Anti-submarine warfare.
I'll tell you the aircraft that they fly. The E-2C and E-2D Hawkeyes.
Oh. Hawkeyes are the, aren't those ones with the radar dishes, or is the Hawk, right?
Yeah.
They're over horizon stuff. They're EAW or VAW. Yep. So it would be fixed wing auxiliary warfare, or
Carrier Airborne Early Warning Squadron.
Yeah.
This is where you have to recognize the role of what it's doing. They've gotten better with this. This one should be a gimme. What is the actual designation for VFA?
VFA. That would be a fighter thing, I'm assuming. Fixed wing, fighter, or attack.
Well, they fly the Hornet. And what is the designation of the Hornet?
It's an attack plane. It's fighter. It's a fighter. It's a fighter squadron.
But it also does what?
It does air-to-air combat, air-to-ground.
And what is another term for an air-to-ground mission?
Surface.
A strike mission.
Oh, so it'd be. It's a fighter strike.
So the actual designation, VFA, what it stands for, Strike Fighter Squadron.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Attack Fighter Squadron, I guess, wasn't it?
So VA
isn't the 18 the FA? So it's the other way around. They
love to switch it around. And sorry, and you do have to admit, Strike Fighter just rolls off the tongue and is easier to say than Fighter Strike Squadron.
Okay.
But VF and VA squadrons are both retired, because VA was your fixed wing attack, VF was your fixed wing fighter, so it was your attack squadron and your fighter squadrons. With the advent of the 18 and its multi-role capability, they combined them to VFA. It's technically a fighter first that can also attack.
Okay.
I know its designation wasn't as such, but wasn't the Phantom also multi-role? Or was never multi-role in the US Navy?
The F4 Phantom and the Tomcat both were adapted to the attack role, but they were not designed initially to perform the attack role, which is why their squadrons were given and maintained just the VF designation, because they were first, foremost, and best fighter aircraft. They could drop bombs, but they were not originally intended or designed to. The Hornet was always designed and intended as a multi-role aircraft. They actually had to adapt other add-ons to the Phantom and the Tomcat to make it effective in that strike role.
I've heard that the F4s are like the loudest jets you'll ever see. I hear they're
nowhere near.
Nope. Prowler.
Yep,
the EA-6B, which is now retired. That thing, you would hear it for miles away when it was getting up to power on the flight line. You're muted, Tech.
There we go. The Prowler was the second loudest aircraft I ever heard flying over the house growing up. So,
which one was the first?
Hawkeye.
Really?
Those turboprops?
I was going to say, they both turboprops as
well. They're noisy, but sorry, I would hear the Growler, the Prowler farther away than the P3, and the P3 was turboprop, and 4 of them.
I always heard the Hawkeyes made a lot of noise, so. Mine, always grew up less than a mile from, Oceana, so.
Yeah.
The absolute loudest aircraft I ever heard was the Avro Vulcan. Boy was that noise, and that also had a hellish howl off the air intakes at certain angles of attack. So if you give that the full beans and then pull up, it would just, oh my god, it was deafening.
So I got the next 2, both aviation squadrons, and these are the ones that you want to be on the lookout for. What do you think VP stands for?
Submarine warfare, maybe?
Close, but not quite.
Is it something with submarines?
That is one of the roles the squadron and aircraft do.
Patrol.
What might...
Patrols.
Yep, patrol squadron. Now, because they have now fully transitioned from the P3 Orion up to the P8 Poseidon. There's actually one squadron that still flies the P3, and it's not because of the... In the U.S., yeah. And it's not because of us.
Who's it because of?
International. So VP30, otherwise known as the Crow's Nest, is the largest P3, the largest VP squadron in the U.S., and it's because they are the training squadron for both the P3 Orion and the P8 Poseidon. And it's because we also train international flight crews.
Okay. Makes sense.
Now your next one, and these are the ones that you do want to be on the lookout for as well, both good and bad. VQ.
The flight squadrons make less sense than the ship names. I'm gonna be honest.
That's why I love them. Getting you used to the fact that a lot of the military acronym shit makes no sense.
You'd think like the flight squadrons would make more sense than the ship names, but no.
To let you know what they do, yes. Because V, it's telling you it's a fixed wing aircraft.
Right.
What do you think the Q stands for?
Is it something obvious that actually starts with Q?
No.
Submarine warfare?
Nope. It's one you've guessed multiple times, but been wrong every time you've guessed it.
Surface stuff, right?
Nope.
I don't remember what I said.
This is your Fleet Air Reconnaissance.
Oh.
These are your ELINT, Signet, and also, what is the job of the E6B Mercury?
I've never heard of that plane. I'm gonna go based on the Mercury 7 program, and it is a space capsule.
Nope. The Boeing E6 Mercury is the Airborne Command Post and Communications Relay. Guess who they talk to quite often?
NORAD.
The subs.
Oh.
So when you're getting your ELF message traffic on the sub while you're while you're submerged at depth, this is the aircraft that's actually relaying that.
Isn't VLF like super slow for communications?
Yes.
Isn't it like 500 words a minute at most?
500 words a minute?
Yeah, that's fast.
It's not that fast.
I don't think it's even 500 characters a minute. About 500 baud, I would have thought, which is essentially
500
bits.
odd. That would be pretty fast.
What, 500 bits per minute?
I've done those. I've done those. No, I'm not going to...
But the wavelength on VLF is like what? 10 kilometers?
It's 8 kilohertz, if I remember correctly, from what I've read.
That sounds fast to somebody who doesn't know anything about radio. That sounds pretty high frequency, but that's the lowest I've ever heard something be in the light spectrum.
So now,
it is pretty much.
The good thing about it goes through everything.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, one of the stations is not. I believe there's an ELF station at Moonwith Hill, which is not that far from me.
All right, here's a good one for you. What do you think HSC stands for? Hotel Sierra Charlie.
You've got me at a loss on
this one. This one is
no way I'd know what the H is.
This one is actually straightforward. It's an aviation squadron. It is a helicopter sea combat.
Oh, anti-submarine.
Everything.
Why can't they all just name them in that same way? Why can't they all just name them in that same way? Why is V gotta be
It's the government. You expect things to be simple?
Okay, so
good point.
So here's one for you. HSM.
Helicopter Squadron Missiles?
Well, a squadron is never going to be a part of the designation.
Okay, what was the last one? Helicopter what?
So HSC was Helicopter Sea Combat.
Helicopter Sea... What would M be?
I'm having fun with this one.
If you're trying to make sense out of the government, though, let me explain something to you. The fire control system that I worked on had a prefix on it that was AN. You know what AN stands for?
No.
It stands for Army Navy.
Actually, no.
500.
I was working on a submarine fire control system.
No. So the submarine fire control. No. So in your system designations like that, the AN is actually Airborne Navy. Yeah. So an army system that's aviation is AA. Because so the radios that I worked on, the communication ones were an AN/ARC. Aviation, Navy, Airborne, radio communications. That's how those broke down. So HSM is Helicopter
C.
No, HSM, Helicopter Maritime Strike.
I love how they like to swap.
Wait, what?
See, this is why I followed these two up with each other. So HSC is your Helicopter Sea Combat, and then your HSM is Helicopter Maritime Strike.
Well, I suppose Helicopter Strike Maritime. If you
so you're
not ass backwards with the.
Yeah. So your
well, technically, if you think about it, most of them are backwards.
Your HSM squadrons took over the anti-submarine squadron role, which was your HSL, your Helicopter Anti-Submarine Light. Your HSC took over from your HS squadrons, which were just your multi-role, just helicopter anti-submarine, because the helicopters were your primary anti-sub aircraft for a while, especially after the the Hoover, the VS squadrons retired. Those were the S2 and S3.
I guess it kind of makes sense to make helicopters your primary anti-submarine weapon, because
they retired the Viking.
You can put them on a little boat, can't you?
Yeah, they retired the Viking. They retired the Viking while I was in, like a couple years after I joined.
I remember one of our JOs was like, well, not one of all of our JOs were stumped on the Viking. I remember one flew over, and one of the officers asked them to identify the aircraft. And they were like, sit there plowing through silhouette books and stuff, trying to figure out what it was. And then he just looked over at me, asked me to identify it. I immediately just.
Well, and that's the thing. Different aircraft. So when it came to those roles, each of the different aircraft that we would use had a completely different power plant, and the sound signature of them was so dramatically different.
The Viking was a sneaky bastard.
Well, yeah, It was like a vacuum clean. It sounded like a vacuum cleaner, which is why it got the nickname Hoover.
Oh, did you ever see it when they were actually doing their run, like their scanning runs though? Because the reason they had those huge turbofan engines and those big wings is because what they would do is they'd rev those engines up, then they just dial them back and glide.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could hear P3 Orions, we could hear helicopters. Those Vikings, they just glide over. You wouldn't even know.
It's almost like we used to be sneaky as shit about that stuff.
You can hear a fucking helicopter from 30 miles away.
Helicopters are noisy, man.
Yeah, it's because of the multi-blades going through the open air. And so here's a question for you. What is the relationship between the number of blades of a helicopter and its sound profile?
Isn't it the more blades, the quieter, I think it is, right?
Not exactly. Think about pitch.
The more blades, the lower pitch.
Wrong. Other way. Higher pitch.
Higher pitch.
Yeah, the more blades, the smooth. I think it's the more blades, the smoother they sound, because you've only got to look at the twin-bladed stuff like the early Hueys.
Whoop, whoop.
I want to see somebody make a single-bladed helicopter work.
And of course, you've also got the fancy new blades with the paddly bits on the end that really
the kinked end
as well.
Yeah.
You could have some high-bladed helicopters that sound pretty low. The pave lows, for example.
Yeah, or the Sea King.
Like 8 blades.
No, which
I think
one?
the Sea Kings were 5-bladed, weren't they, as well?
It might come. That's probably actually coming down. They're probably on those things are using more blades than spinning slower. So.
Yeah, and the bit that you're talking about, Alan, with the end of the prop blade is they kink them at that angle. That actually helps dissipate wingtip vortices a bit to increase the efficiency, so they could actually get better fuel range.
Yeah, those clever rotor designs are actually really efficient, aren't they?
Yeah, and the Super Stallion
compared with a straight blade.
Yeah, and the Super Stallion is a 6-blade.
Okay.
I think the King, the H3, was a 5-blade. Trying to pull up an image now.
The King was 5. I've got lots of photos. Well, in my rotating slideshow, I have several photos of the Sea King.
Yep, 5-blade.
I don't think it's got a. I don't think I've got a picture of the Pablo.
Jay, I cannot unsee that picture. I cannot unsee that video you sent me of Skeptic kissing that doll himself. I cannot unsee that.
I have some other stuff that unfortunately might draw the wrong people out, so I will refuse to share that out, at least publicly on the stream. One person who we used to know by the initials of LP.
Logan Paul. I'm kidding.
Let's see over here. What do we have going on? Oh, jeez. Oh, you sent me that. Okay.
Yeah, I sent you what I said to her specifically, and then it included the link, anyways.
Nice. All right. So let's see what else I missed here, just because.
Yeah, anamorphic mine.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know, he has.
All right, let me get back to that. And yeah, well, let's hope so. Some people need to learn that and actually stick to it. All right. So with that, we are coming up on the end of the hour, which is going to give me a little bit of time to do the prep work that I need before fucking Reds.
What's wrong with Reds?
Oh, doing a live stream in 37 minutes. And guess who's producing it? Yay. So with that, it has been quite the year so far. We've had some stuff and things go on, and, well, looks like you guys are stuck with us for another year round. So this is going to make for an interesting embarkation on Season 3.
I believe it's 3 already.
Now, this is 3, so...
No, that's what I mean. I can't believe we're already up to 3.
Yeah.
Season 3 now.
Yep, this is the beginning of it, because we started on Memorial Day in Memorial Day 2018.
Yeah, back in the days when I couldn't sleep.
And speaking of, you're actually going to get to be able to go to bed at a decent time. Oh,
No.
And of
now
course,
going to have to do, Jared, is edit all the video I managed to get this afternoon for a video that is supposed to be premiering at 13:30 British summertime today.
Oh, nice. And look who decides to show
and
up
it's 2 a.m.
right at the end. Right at the end, look who decides to show up.
I don't know who that is.
My bad, man.
It's almost like if you pay attention to what's commented in the Discord. I know, I got to give you shit about that, but no. We are calling this to a close right here because I would like to go do something before having to be stuck on a stream with Reds for who knows how long.
To Miss Colson about her willfully spreading misleading information to help cover up Mr. Curtis's fraudulent activities by not keeping accurate accounting.
Oh boy. You're having fun, aren't you, Jay? Well, you have fun with that. Everyone else, have fun with whatever you have planned and are going to do. And yeah, we'll be back Friday night because I'm not on call this week.
Oh, I bet you're happy about that.
Oh, after this weekend?
Trigonometry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. All right, anyone else have something to say before I just cut you guys off?
Oh, I didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition.
All right, Jay, you're having too much fun.
You never expect the Spanish Inquisition.
Good night, everybody.